for and Liberty might start making him a little bit of money, but that's no reason to everybody to bail on Varian. Quit! Oh, gotta sit right here. Go away. Go away. For and
Approximately a year ago, Liberty Entertainment Distribution contacted numerous independent comic creators with a contract to put their books in Spencer's Gifts. Spencer's currently has 600 shops and malls across the United States and Canada. 7 creators with a total of 9 books took Liberty up on the offer. 27,000 books were printed at the creators' expense. 2,000 were to be sent to Spencer's and 1,000 were intended for Liberty Distribution to distribute to comic shops and sell at conventions. This was to be a 6-issue monthly contract. According to Anthony Figaro, one of the creators involved, all of the creators signed contracts and NDAs with Liberty, but now that the deal has fallen apart, people involved in and with knowledge of this deal have started to speak about it.
What happened was, first of all, I started Liberty, the company, in 2015.
Right.
Through it, when someone would order stuff from my comic publishing company, when I sent it with Liberty package. You know, just kind of giving myself this experience.
So what is Liberty? Is Liberty a comic book publishing company? Is Liberty a shipping and fulfillment company? What is this Liberty brand?
Distribution. For independent comics.
All right.
Liberty is owned by Varian Grant, and despite being established in 2015 and Grant sending out his own books under the Liberty banner, the official launch was announced in August of 2020. Varian and his wife Krista also run IndieVolt, which bills itself as a media company whose stated purpose is to support independent artists. The first time I saw them in Comicsgate was a live stream in early May 2021. Krista, who goes by the handle Lola the Indie Princess, was launching a crowdfund for a book entitled Lure, a self-insert psychological thriller set against a background of polyamory, which included an ashcan of a listing of A to Z fetishes, as well as a 28-page book of prints of unsolicited dick pictures she had received. Krista raised $2,360 on Indiegogo. Since then, IndieVolt announced a partnership with Indiecron, a fixture in Comicsgate since 2019 that collates CG crowdfunds. One of the creators contracted for the Spencer's deal, J.D. Calderon, acted as a print broker and found a printer for the books. The first issue of the books were shipped from the printer to Varian in Michigan in July of 2021. On August 4th, Liberty Distribution's Twitter announced that the books had been sent to Spencer's Distribution Center in New Jersey. This started the 45-day clock for the creators to receive payment. And sometime in mid to early August, Varian told the group that Spencer's wanted to expand the contract, and they made plans to travel to New Jersey for the grand opening of their books being placed in Spencer's, attend a pop-up book signing, and for Varian to sign the new contract. This contract was for 17,500 copies of each issue instead of the initial 2,000, bringing the total number of contracted books to 158,500 monthly. The opening at Spencer's had been canceled, but the group still traveled to New Jersey for the contract signing, where they were told by Varian that the representative they were to meet with at Spencer's was ill and would not be meeting with them that day. Over the course of the weekend, which included a pop-up shop book signing, Varian claimed to have received an email with the contract and he signed it. This expansion of the contract is happening at the same time Varian says Spencer's was seemingly cooling to the deal because the first shipment of books was a few days late. By mid-September, the 45 days for the receipt of payment was up. Varian told the creators that the payment was held up because the UPC codes were incorrect and it would be another 120 days before payment would be received.
So I was told that originally you sent the stuff, you were supposed to get payment within 45 days.
Yes.
And then you were told the UPC codes were entered wrong, yes, and that it was going to be another 120 days before you got payment.
Due to the paper shortage, Calderon was unable to find a printer and the additional 138,500 books were never printed.
I thought, oh, okay, well, you know, this can work and this is going to work. And then the rug got snatched out from us when I got home because That's when we get told there's no way to meet that deal because there's no paper.
And how many printers did you contact?
Well, JD was the point guy on the printers.
And how many different printers did JD reach out to?
I am not sure.
After some time, Varian told the group that Spencer's wanted to return to the original contract of 2,000 copies per issue because they were unable to procure the additional books. On Black Rose Comics livestream on February 13, 2022, Varian claimed to have used a business-to-business broker called Books to Bucks to find this deal with Spencer's, a claim reiterated by Varian on his own February 17th livestream.
One of those companies was referral only. And they reached out to me and they said, hey, we specialize in books, and they were called B2B Squared. And they said it was business to business, books to books. And they told me they would, be able to help me get these comics everywhere.
None of the creators had been informed that there was a third party acting as a middleman for this contract. They were under the impression that Varian was in direct contact with Spencer's. On a February 16th Black Rose Comics livestream, Eric Hodson, a longtime friend of Varian's and fellow comic creator, showed a partial page of a purported NDA with a company called B2B Squared. Varian also claims to have received payment for the artwork done by Eric Hodson for the store displays and a single letter in December from both Spencer's and B2B Squared that canceled the contract with penalties due to breach of contract. He said that he forwarded the letter to his lawyer and that after payment of a $3,744 fine, which was a charge for storage and return shipping to Michigan, Spencer's agreed to send the books back to Varian. Very little of what I just described actually happened the way Varian claimed. Contracts with Liberty Entertainment Distribution were signed by the creators, books were printed, Hodson did the display art, and they did travel to New Jersey. There never was a contract with Spencer's Gifts. Nearly everything Varian told these 7 creators was a lie. Something to keep in mind here is that Varian, while claiming that he had an attorney, never stated that he showed the initial contract to that attorney, and he most definitely didn't have him look over the addendum to the contract he claims to have signed while in New Jersey, a change in the contract that would have made it worth $6 million.
And in that conversation, you said that you had mailed the night before correspondence with things redacted and watermarked with my name on it. So, when I showed it, because I had your back. I was defending you. Of course I'm going to show, look, I've got receipts. He's not lying. Of course I was going to show that. But it's been 3 weeks and I haven't got that.
Really?
So, yeah, well, so at this point, when that never showed up, man, I didn't have any choice but just to step away and say, okay, I've got to get these books because I'm massively in debt from this deal. And I got to make something happen.
No one involved in this has seen any paperwork regarding this deal with Spencer's. The contract from Spencer's was withheld because of an NDA. The NDA was never shown. Not a single invoice was shown. Not one bill of lading for the shipping. Nothing, despite numerous instances of Varian promising to share the information with the group. Varian has claimed multiple times that the company he signed an NDA with is called B2B Squared Books to Bucks. There is a problem with the NDA he claims to have signed. Books to Bucks doesn't exist. The company name on the NDA, the first page of which was given to Eric, is B2B Squared. B2B Squared is located in Wisconsin, and from their website, they deal with e-commerce, not brick and mortar. This is their logo. The logo on the top of the NDA does not belong to B2B Squared and can be found on this website, where graphic designers post samples of their work looking to be hired.
General Counsel is Spencer's legal department, and I talked to Kevin W. Mahoney, Esquire. He's the Senior Vice President and General Counsel at Spencer's Gifts. I explained the due diligence I was performing. He asked me to send him in writing, and he would ascertain for me if the deal ever existed and whether or not Jill Watts, Jill Morris, or Carl Eubanks worked for Spencer's. I spoke to Mr. Mahoney on Friday afternoon, and he confirmed that Spencer's does not do any business with B2B Squared nor Liberty Entertainment Distribution. He also confirmed that no one by the names of Jill Watts, Jill Morris, nor Carl Eubanks does now or has ever worked for Spencer's.
The person who the group was supposed to meet in August and sign the amended contract has never worked at Spencer's. None of the claimed contacts Varian had at Spencer's do or have worked there. And according to Phoenix Animation, he contacted Spencer's after being bounced from department to department, was finally put in contact with the woman in charge of their business to business, and she said the Spencer's had never carried comics and has never had plans to do so.
I believe Varian was the victim of an elaborate scam and is not savvy enough to ask the right questions, insist on documentations, and then be truthful with his business partners regarding the nature of the relationship involving B2B Squared.
Dojo-kun Comics, who is a certified fraud investigator, has spoken with Varian, his wife, Spencer's legal counsel, and a few of the creators. He looked at some documents that Varian shared with him and has come to the conclusion that Varian, while guilty of negligent business practices, was scammed by B2B Squared. That the scam was to get the $3,744 from Varian for the storage and shipping that was demanded in December for the return of the books. I disagree. I don't believe that Varian had a contract with anyone. Dojo-kun's theory rests on the idea that the books were picked up by the scammer company and moved to another facility. But this never happened. I have been in contact with Randy Zimmerman, one of the creators offered this deal by Varian. He helped pack the books for what he believed to be their pickup to New Jersey, and according to him, the books haven't moved an inch and are in the exact same spot in the storage space Varian rented. Photographs of the pallets taken on the day they were supposedly picked up and after they were reportedly returned confirm this. Eric Hodson has since changed the locks on the unit and will be sending the books back to the individual creators. So what was the hustle? I believe the purpose here was twofold. First, having these creators under the Liberty banner made the company look bigger than it was and raised its profile among creators and possible distribution outlets. And second, Varian was given possession of 27,000 books. Per the contract, 1,000 copies of each issue were not included in the professed Spencer's deal, but were intended for Liberty to decimate to other vendors and for Varian and his wife to sell at conventions. He would receive 50% of these sales. By September, after the New Jersey trip, they were at conventions selling these comics. The remaining 18,000 books, in my opinion, were intended for liquidation by Varian. The expanded deal was always going to fall through before the books were actually printed. According to Zimmerman, Varian was already setting up Calderon as the fall guy. The paper shortage gave him the perfect excuse for this ostensible deal to collapse. Now, the Seven have control over their books. They are running a crowdfund on Indiegogo in an attempt to recoup some of their losses.
Hello and welcome to this edition of the Dojo-kun Shill Shack. Today's topic is the Fraud Investigation's amended findings video related to the Liberty Entertainment distribution debacle and whether or not they could get comic books from themselves and several other creators into Spencer's Gifts, and whether or not this has been a fraud. These are my credentials. I'm not going to read them all to you. I'm not really here to impress, just want you to know that I am qualified to opine on the subject. So the Liberty Entertainment distribution debacle involved an awful lot of deception, misleading comments, and lies by omission. But one of the things that we were able to point out are the name changes. Basically, whoever was perpetrating this fraud couldn't even get their own story straight. Spencer's Gifts LLC later was called SSH Holdings, doing business as Spencer's Gifts. Jill Watts became Jill Morris. Carl Eubanks supposedly worked for B2B as a co-owner, and then later suddenly works directly for Spencer's, according to this documentation that was falsified and presented. Kevin Mahoney, Senior Vice President and General Counsel of Spencer's, vehemently denies that any of these people ever worked for Spencer's. He also says that Spencer's was not in deals to put any comic books in the stores, nor were they ever interested in doing so. This is the banner for my first presentation, in which I said that Varian was guilty of negligent misrepresentation, not fraud. But some other things have come to light since then. For example, The Dumping Ground, a show co-hosted by Vickyverse, talked about the fact that they had a discussion subsequent to my presentation with Randy Zimmerman, one of the creators who were swindled in this debacle. Now, Randy said he specifically placed these pallets in the Liberty Entertainment distribution warehouse in a very specific location, and that was in order for them to be able to walk around and tightly wrap the pallets of books in the green cellophane. When the books were returned, they were additionally wrapped in something that he feels was just saran wrap. None of the green wrapping had been damaged whatsoever, and the pallets were in exactly the same place he placed them. The books never moved. We had said during our discussions that no legitimate courier would ever touch those books without a bill of lading. Varian was unable to present any, even though he said that they were picked up, and I believe it's because they never were. They stayed in Varian's possession the entire time. Varian said he got Direct Express, his credit card company, to provide a phone number attached to the transaction when he said he paid B2B. Well, the phone number goes to a John F. Paulson, who, as you can see here, was at a funeral, his own. This person is deceased. That phone number does not go to John F. Paulson. Now, this was my original presentation, and as you can see, I've made some edits. Varian created a fake company, used a co-opted logo, and a fake phone number for B2B. The B2B that he showed by its name is a digital branch, digital service company. And B2B consultancy services is something else entirely. He just mashed these two together to make it sound like they were a legitimate company. Varian led the creators he contacted to believe he had inroads to Spencer's Gifts and other retail chains. Varian tricked the creators, people who he claimed to be friends with, into providing a total of 27,000 copies of their comic books. He claimed a courier service picked up the books, and as Randy will attest, and he said he would do so in court, they've never moved. There was no bill of lading, and that was why. You can skip 5, 6, and 7 and go right down to number 8. Having never informed the other publishers of the fake intermediary, Varian gave none of them the opportunity to ascertain the deal was fake all along. There are red flags in so many places, but the publishers either didn't want to upset the apple cart in a potentially life-changing deal, or were shot down by Varian when they had questions. I'm saying it's a total scam. This is the transaction line on his credit card statement, and the company, Direct Express, will not or cannot tell us where that money actually went. Varian is not answering emails any longer, and I think it's because he's just kicking this can down the road, hoping that this will all blow over. Vicky Verse also said in the Dumping Ground show that she feels that this fraud was perpetrated just to give him clout. I can't disagree with that. Seeing the number of companies on here that he supposedly successfully worked with would give him more credibility. I'm telling all of those publishers that are on here, some that I haven't spoken to yet, that they shouldn't work with him. Another potential reason for this fraud is the fact that he could liquidate those 27,000 copies and make money at the various cons he attends. Whenever he was confronted about this lack of paperwork, about the deception, about the efforts that were made that got nowhere, he and his wife Krista would lash out, using expletives, putting people down, and making threats. Well, 5 reasons why toxic people play the victim. I think number 2 and 3 are in play here, to get your sympathy and to avoid taking responsibility. Now, Varian claims to have filed a police report. In Michigan, it's illegal to file a false police report, carrying with it serious charges of up to 4 years in prison and fines of up to $2,000. The fines and prison term get worse if you do it more than once. But in addition to that, he also claims to have filed a fraud report with the Federal Trade Commission. The Code of Federal Regulations, paragraph 18, subsection number 1001, goes through all of the reasons that if you file a false Federal Trade Commission fraud report, you can be imprisoned of not more than 8 years, depending on the severity. Well, if you've done both of those things, and in fact it's a falsification of business records, it carries jail time. So this is getting more and more serious as time goes on. This is the Federal Trade Commission fraud report he purports to have sent. What's interesting about this is the math doesn't add up on the report that he presented to them. He said he paid $75 to enroll his company in the database of B2B. He paid communication $300 fine, and he says he paid $3,744 to them for shipping and other fines. Well, combined, that's $4,119, as you can see here. But then he says the amount he paid was $4,055. So one wonders if the Federal Trade Commission is even going to take this seriously. In the original presentation, I posed the question, is this negligent misrepresentation or fraud? Negligent misrepresentation has its own definition. Fraud has its own. I'm not going to read them again, but in my estimation, based on all of the things that I've learned before my presentation last time and subsequent to it, I think B2B equals Varian, and Varian equals a fraud. Now, trust takes years to build, seconds to break, and forever to repair. Trust doesn't come with a refill. Once it's gone, you probably won't get it back, and if you do, it will never be the same, and that's a fact. Don't ever break someone's trust. Once you do, then nobody wants to do business with you. And I suggest that no one does do business with Liberty Entertainment Distribution or any company Varian Grant owns or operates. Because of this scam that was pulled, those creators that were involved, they put together a Indiegogo campaign called the Long Shots. They're hoping to recoup some of the cost of printing all of those books. It's a great deal, this Long Shots campaign. You get 9 books for just $25. 9 different comic books, some of which I've actually read, and they're really good. So there's the website, or the URL link to the Indiegogo launching, or the Indiegogo Long Shots campaign. Please give it a consideration. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe to the channel, and please press that bell for notifications for when the next video from Dojo Kun Comics drops.
Buddy to bail on Varian, quick! Oh, now just sit right here. Go away. Go away. Liberty might start making him a little bit of money, but that's no reason to everybody to bail on Varian, quick! Oh, now just sit right here. Go away. Go away.
Approximately a year ago, Liberty Entertainment Distribution contacted numerous independent comic creators with a contract to put their books in Spencer's Gifts. Spencer's currently has 600 shops and malls across the United States and Canada. 7 creators with a total of 9 books took Liberty up on the offer. 27,000 books were printed at the creators' expense. 2,000 were to be sent to Spencer's, and 1,000 were intended for Liberty Distribution to distribute to comic shops and sell at conventions. This was to be a 6-issue monthly contract. According to Anthony Figaro, one of the creators involved, all of the creators signed contracts and NDAs with Liberty, but now that the deal has fallen apart, people involved in and with knowledge of this deal have started to speak about it.
What happened was, first of all, I started Liberty, the company, in 2015.
Right.
Through it, when someone would order stuff from my comic publishing company, when I sent it with Liberty package. You know, just kind of giving myself this experience.
So what is Liberty? Is Liberty a comic book publishing company? Is Liberty a shipping and fulfillment company? What is this Liberty brand?
Distribution. For independent comics.
All right.
Liberty is owned by Varian Grant, and despite being established in 2015 and Grant sending out his own books under the Liberty banner, the official launch was announced in August of 2020. Varian and his wife Krista also run IndieVolt, which bills itself as a media company whose stated purpose is to support independent artists. The first time I saw them in Comicsgate was a live stream in early May 2021. Krista, who goes by the handle Lola the Indie Princess, was launching a crowdfund for a book entitled Lure, a self-insert psychological thriller set against a background of polyamory, which included an ashcan of a listing of A to Z fetishes, as well as a 28-page book of prints of unsolicited dick pictures she had received. Krista raised $2,360 on Indiegogo. Since then, IndieVolt announced a partnership with Indiecron, a fixture in Comicsgate since 2019 that collates CG crowdfunds. One of the creators contracted for the Spencer's deal, J.D. Calderon, acted as a print broker and found a printer for the books. The first issue of the books were shipped from the printer to Varian in Michigan in July of 2021. On August 4th, Liberty Distribution's Twitter announced that the books had been sent to Spencer's Distribution Center in New Jersey. This started the 45-day clock for the creators to receive payment. And sometime in mid to early August, Varian told the group that Spencer's wanted to expand the contract, and they made plans to travel to New Jersey for the grand opening of their books being placed in Spencer's, attend a pop-up book signing, and for Varian to sign the new contract. This contract was for 17,500 copies of each issue instead of the initial 2,000, bringing the total number of contracted books to 158,500 monthly. The opening at Spencer's had been canceled, but the group still traveled to New Jersey for the contract signing, where they were told by Varian that the representative they were to meet with at Spencer's was ill and would not be meeting with them that day. Over the course of the weekend, which included a pop-up shop book signing, Varian claimed to have received an email with the contract and he signed it. This expansion of the contract is happening at the same time, Varian says, Spencer's was seemingly cooling to the deal because the first shipment of books was a few days late. By mid-September, the 45 days for the receipt of payment was up. Varian told the creators that the payment was held up because the UPC codes were incorrect and it would be another 120 days before payment would be received.
So I was told that originally you sent the stuff, you were supposed to get payment within 45 days.
Yes.
And then you were told the UPC codes were entered wrong,
Yes.
and that it was going to be another 120 days before you got payment.
Due to the paper shortage, Calderon was unable to find a printer and the additional 138,500 books were never printed.
I thought, oh, okay, well, this can work and this is going to work. And then the rug got snatched out from us when I got home, because that's when we get told there's no way to meet that deal because there's no paper.
And how many printers did you contact?
Well, JD was the point guy on the printers.
And
So
how
I'm not
many
sure
how many different printers did JD reach out to?
I am not sure.
After some time, Varian told the group that Spencer's wanted to return to the original contract of 2,000 copies per issue because they were unable to procure the additional books. On Black Rose Comics livestream on February 13, 2022, Varian claimed to have used a business-to-business broker called Books to Bucks to find this deal with Spencer's, a claim reiterated by Varian on his own February 17th livestream.
One of those companies was referral only, and they reached out to me and they said, "Hey, we specialize in books," and they were called B2B Squared, and they said it was business to business, books to books, and they told me they would, be able to help me get these comics everywhere.
None of the creators had been informed that there was a third party acting as a middleman for this contract. They were under the impression that Varian was in direct contact with Spencer's. On a February 16th Black Rose Comics livestream, Eric Hodson, a longtime friend of Varian's and fellow comic creator, showed a partial page of a purported NDA with a company called B2B Squared. Varian also claims to have received payment for the artwork done by Eric Hodson for the store displays and a single letter in December from both Spencer's and B2B Squared that canceled the contract with penalties due to breach of contract. He said that he forwarded the letter to his lawyer and that after payment of a $3,744 fine, which was a charge for storage and return shipping to Michigan, Spencer's agreed to send the books back to Varian. Very little of what I just described actually happened the way Varian claimed. Contracts with Liberty Entertainment Distribution were signed by the creators, books were printed, Hodson did the display art, and they did travel to New Jersey. There never was a contract with Spencer's Gifts. Nearly everything Varian told these 7 creators was a lie. Something to keep in mind here is that Varian, while claiming that he had an attorney, never stated that he showed the initial contract to that attorney, and he most definitely didn't have him look over the addendum to the contract he claims to have signed while in New Jersey, a change in the contract that would have made it worth $6 million.
And in that conversation, you said that you had mailed the night before correspondence with things redacted and watermarked with my name on it. So when I showed it, because I had your back. I was defending you. Of course I'm going to show, look, I've got receipts. He's not lying. Of course I was going to show that. But it's been 3 weeks and I haven't got that.
Really?
So, yeah,
well,
so at this point, when that never showed up, man, I didn't have any choice but just to step away and say, okay, I've got to get these books because I'm massively in debt from this deal. And I got to make something happen.
No one involved in this has seen any paperwork regarding this deal with Spencer's. The contract from Spencer's was withheld because of an NDA. The NDA was never shown. Not a single invoice was shown. Not one bill of lading for the shipping. Nothing, despite numerous instances of Varian promising to share the information with the group. Varian has claimed multiple times that the company he signed an NDA with is called B2B Squared Books to Bucks. There is a problem with the NDA he claims to have signed. Books to Bucks doesn't exist. The company name on the NDA, the first page of which was given to Eric, is B2B Squared. B2B Squared is located in Wisconsin, and from their website they deal with e-commerce, not brick and mortar. This is their logo. The logo on the top of the NDA does not belong to B2B Squared and can be found on this website, where graphic designers post samples of their work looking to be hired.
General counsel is Spencer's legal department, and I talked to Kevin W. Mahoney, Esquire. He's the senior vice president and general counsel at Spencer's Gifts. I explained the due diligence I was performing. He asked me to send him in writing, and he would ascertain for me if the deal ever existed and whether or not Jill Watts, Jill Morris, or Carl Eubanks worked for Spencer's. I spoke to Mr. Mahoney on Friday afternoon, and he confirmed that Spencer's does not do any business with B2B Squared nor Liberty Entertainment Distribution. He also confirmed that no one by the names of Jill Watts, Jill Morris, nor Carl Eubanks does now or has ever worked for Spencer's.
The person who the group was supposed to meet in August and sign the amended contract has never worked at Spencer's. None of the claimed contacts Varian had at Spencer's do or have worked there. And according to Phoenix Animation, he contacted Spencer's after being bounced from department to department, was finally put in contact with the woman in charge of their business to business, and she said the Spencer's had never carried comics and has never had plans to do so.
I believe Varian was the victim of an elaborate scam and is not savvy enough to ask the right questions, insist on documentations, and then be truthful with his business partners regarding the nature of the relationship involving B2B Squared.
Dojo Kun Comics, who is a certified fraud investigator, has spoken with Varian, his wife, Spencer's legal counsel, and a few of the creators. He looked at some documents that Varian shared with him and has come to the conclusion that Varian, while guilty of negligent business practices, was scammed by B2B Squared. That the scam was to get the $3,744 from Varian for the storage and shipping that was demanded in December for the return of the books. I disagree. I don't believe that Varian had a contract with anyone. Dojo Kun's theory rests on the idea that the books were picked up by the scammer company and moved to another facility. But this never happened. I have been in contact with Randy Zimmerman, one of the creators offered this deal by Varian. He helped pack the books for what he believed to be their pickup to New Jersey, and according to him, the books haven't moved an inch and are in the exact same spot in the storage space Varian rented. Photographs of the pallets taken on the day they were supposedly picked up and after they were reportedly returned confirm this. Eric Hodson has since changed the locks on the unit and will be sending the books back to the individual creators. So what was the hustle? I believe the purpose here was twofold. First, having these creators under the Liberty banner made the company look bigger than it was and raised its profile among creators and possible distribution outlets. And second, Varian was given possession of 27,000 books. Per the contract, 1,000 copies of each issue were not included in the professed Spencer's deal, but were intended for Liberty to decimate to other vendors and for Varian and his wife to sell at conventions. He would receive 50% of these sales. By September, after the New Jersey trip, they were at conventions selling these comics. The remaining 18,000 books, in my opinion, were intended for liquidation by Varian. The expanded deal was always going to fall through before the books were actually printed. According to Zimmerman, Varian was already setting up Calderon as the fall guy. The paper shortage gave him the perfect excuse for this ostensible deal to collapse. Now, the seven have control over their books. They are running a crowdfund on Indiegogo in an attempt to recoup some of their losses.
Hello and welcome to this edition of the Dojo Kun Chill Shack. Today's topic is the Fraud Investigation's amended findings video related to the Liberty Entertainment Distribution debacle and whether or not they could get comic books from themselves and several other creators into Spencer's Gifts, and whether or not this has been a fraud. These are my credentials. I'm not going to read them all to you. I'm not really here to impress, just want you to know that I am qualified to opine on the subject. So the Liberty Entertainment Distribution debacle involved an awful lot of deception, misleading comments, and lies by omission. But one of the things that we were able to point out are the name changes. Basically, Whoever was perpetrating this fraud couldn't even get their own story straight. Spencer's Gifts LLC later was called SSH Holdings, doing business as Spencer's Gifts. Jill Watts became Jill Morris. Carl Eubanks supposedly worked for B2B as a co-owner, and then later suddenly works directly for Spencer's, according to this documentation that was falsified and presented. Kevin Mahoney, Senior Vice President and General Counsel of Spencer's, vehemently denies that any of these people ever worked for Spencer's. He also says that Spencer's was not in deals to put any comic books in the stores, nor were they ever interested in doing so. This is the banner for my first presentation, in which I said that Varian was guilty of negligent misrepresentation, not fraud. But some other things have come to light since then. For example, The Dumping Ground, a show co-hosted by Vickyverse, talked about the fact that they had a discussion subsequent to my presentation with Randy Zimmerman, one of the creators who were swindled in this debacle. Now, Randy said he specifically placed these pallets in the Liberty Entertainment Distribution warehouse in a very specific location, and that was in order for them to be able to walk around and tightly wrap the pallets of books in the green cellophane. When the books were returned, they were additionally wrapped in something that he feels was just saran wrap. None of the green wrapping had been damaged whatsoever, and the pallets were in exactly the same place he placed them. The books never moved. We had said during our discussions that no legitimate courier would ever touch those books without a bill of lading. Varian was unable to present any, even though he said that they were picked up, and I believe it's because they never were. They stayed in Varian's possession the entire time. Varian said he got Direct Express, his credit card company, to provide a phone number attached to the transaction when he said he paid B2B. Well, the phone number goes to a John F. Paulson, who, as you can see here, was at a funeral, his own. This person is deceased. That phone number does not go to John F. Paulson. Now, this was my original presentation, and as you can see, I've made some edits. Varian created a fake company, used a co-opted logo, and a fake phone number for B2B. The B2B that he showed by its name is a digital branch, digital service company, and B2B consultancy services is something else entirely. He just mashed these two together to make it sound like they were a legitimate company. Varian led the creators he contacted to believe he had inroads to Spencer's Gifts and other retail chains. Varian tricked the creators, people who he claimed to be friends with, into providing a total of 27,000 copies of their comic books. He claimed a courier service picked up the books, and as Randy will attest, and he said he would do so in court, they've never moved. There was no bill of lading, and that was why. You can skip 5, 6, and 7 and go right down to number 8. Having never informed the other publishers of the fake intermediary, Varian gave none of them the opportunity to ascertain the deal was fake all along. There are red flags in so many places, but the publishers either didn't want to upset the apple cart in a potentially life-changing deal, or were shot down by Varian when they had questions. I'm saying it's a total scam. This is the transaction line on his credit card statement, and the company, Direct Express, will not or cannot tell us where that money actually went. Varian is not answering emails any longer, and I think it's because he's just kicking this can down the road, hoping that this will all blow over. Vickyverse also said in the Dumping Ground show that she feels that this fraud was perpetrated just to give him clout. I can't disagree with that. Seeing the number of companies on here that he supposedly successfully worked with would give him more credibility. I'm telling all of those publishers that are on here, some that I haven't spoken to yet, that they shouldn't work with him. Another potential reason for this fraud is the fact that he could liquidate those 27,000 copies and make money at the various cons he attends. Whenever he was confronted about this lack of paperwork, about the deception, about the efforts that were made that got nowhere, he and his wife Krista would lash out, using expletives, putting people down, and making threats. Well, 5 reasons why toxic people play the victim. I think number 2 and 3 are in play here, to get your sympathy and to avoid taking responsibility. Now, Varian claims to have filed a police report. In Michigan, it's illegal to file a false police report, carrying with it serious charges of up to 4 years in prison and fines of up to $2,000. The fines and prison term get worse if you do it more than once. But in addition to that, he also claims to have filed a fraud report with the Federal Trade Commission. The Code of Federal Regulations, paragraph 18, subsection number 1001, goes through all of the reasons that if you file a false Federal Trade Commission fraud report, you can be imprisoned of not more than 8 years, depending on the severity. Well, if you've done both of those things, and in fact it's a falsification of business records, it carries jail time. So this is getting more and more serious as time goes on. This is the Federal Trade Commission fraud report he purports to have sent. What's interesting about this is the math doesn't add up on the report that he presented to them. He said he paid $75 to enroll his company in the database of B2B. He paid communication $300 fine, and he says he paid $3,744 to them for shipping and other fines. Well, combined, that's $4,119, as you can see here. But then he says the amount he paid was $4,055. So one wonders if the Federal Trade Commission is even going to take this seriously. In the original presentation, I posed the question, is this negligent misrepresentation or fraud? Negligent misrepresentation has its own definition. Fraud has its own. I'm not going to read them again. But in my estimation, based on all of the things that I've learned before my presentation last time and subsequent to it, I think B2B equals Varian, and Varian equals a fraud. Now, trust takes years to build, seconds to break, and forever to repair. Trust doesn't come with a refill. Once it's gone, you probably won't get it back. And if you do, it will never be the same, and that's a fact. Don't ever break someone's trust. Once you do, then nobody wants to do business with you. And I suggest that no one does do business with Liberty Entertainment Distribution or any company Varian Grant owns or operates. Because of this scam that was pulled, those creators that were involved, they put together a Indiegogo campaign called the Long Shots. They're hoping to recoup some of the cost of printing all of those books. It's a great deal, this Long Shots campaign. You get 9 books for just $25. 9 different comic books, some of which I've actually read, and they're really good. So there's the website, or the URL link to the Indiegogo launching, or the Indiegogo Long Shots campaign. Please give it a consideration. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe to the channel, and please press that bell for notifications for when the next video from Dojo Kun Comics drops.
Buddy to bail on Varian. Quit. Oh, gotta sit right here. Go away. Go away. Liberty might start making him a little bit of money, but that's no reason to everybody to bail on Varian. Quit. Oh, gotta sit right here. Go away. Go away.
When I met Pops, I was extremely supportive. Like most people, I thought he was just a harmless comic book fan, retired, sitting at home promoting comics. I don't want to go into details, but Diana and I, we were really invested in his well-being. We kind of do that. We help people, and sometimes we get in when we don't really know what we're getting into. But we cared, and we tried to help the guy in every way we could. He started talking about his troll book. And although I had only heard about it through Diana, I was excited. I scribbled down a plot that I knew he might not like, but I presented it to him and said, hey, check this out. It might not be right for your book, but tell me what you think. Well, he told me he liked the concept, but that he wanted my IP Cyclopean crossing over with Crom. Long story short, I had no interest in my all-ages IP Cyclopean hanging out with a a pot-smoking, sex-starved internet troll in some silly anthology crossover that wasn't going to sell crap anyways. Thus, I told him I would pass on the book. And that was the beginning of the end for me and Pops, as he shifted into bitch mode and started attacking me for writing a story that would make his IP look bad and it might upset someone, namely SJWs. And even though I presented the idea with the understanding that he might not like it, he kept talking down to me, attacking me, saying his book was my big chance to get exposure because his book was going to be huge. I was like, you know what? Let me sleep on it. But he continued and continued. For about 3 hours, we went back and forth. And it was in the course of this exchange I called him a fraud, which really hit a nerve, as he promised to never help me or mention me ever again. Then he blocked me. You might wonder why I didn't simply stop responding when this all started, but as we always tell everyone, I'm autistic and I can be difficult to work with. One of the problems I have, I can't stop when someone keeps attacking me. It's like the last word syndrome. And it's exactly the same reason why I wrote him the next day in an email and told him that he was a bitch for blocking me, which led to us fighting back and forth again for about another 6 hours via email. At this point, he pissed me off so badly, I decided, you know what? I'm going to do this story. I'm going to make my own anthology troll book. Not a big deal. I'm always making books, and I believe in my writing. So then something weird happened. Testify HD died. And that really troubled me because he and I were not on good terms when he passed. And I really didn't want, Pops or I to die and then, have this, negative thing between us with, no opportunity to say, hey, okay, let's just put this under the bridge and whatever. So, I apologized to him, but he was just a condescending prick. There was no return apology. He's just, going to tell me how great he is and how he loves comics and that's what he's fighting for. I said, all right, whatever. I'll back Cromniverse, and, I did. And then I attempted to reach out to him a couple of more times, to which he was still being a dick. So I was like, whatever, I'm backing the book. I'm helping the contributors who aren't getting shit for the book as far as the plan goes. I mean, they'll get something, but man, it's a ripoff if you ask me. Nevertheless, he kind of remained a prick to me and kept doing what he did. And I'm watching and I'm like, he's done his best to show his attitude to each and every one of us, giving flack back to Pete and just generally being a dick wherever he wants to be. And, even when he was featuring Lola and Varian as featured creators, I was like, it's his business, but aren't those the two that just got exposed for ripping off 7 creators? Basically, I was just, going to hang in there until I got the book and just let it be, let it fade away. But then someone on the internet found a video that he tried to hide. And it's a video of him hitting his dog while he's in a stream with Lola, who just got, caught ripping off 7 different creators, according to a couple of internet reports that they were actually kind of compliant with until they weren't. He hit the dog, he tried to hide it, and really that's how he handles things. He ignores it. He doesn't give him oxygen, because if he gives him oxygen, he gets exposed. He did this with me. He's done it with a couple of my friends. He did it with Varian and Lola. Now that they're not on the campaign listing anymore, I guess. I mean, their names aren't there anymore. I don't know why they were removed. I'm only guessing it's because of the heat he was getting. But Bleeding Fool still has their names listed in a quote from Pops. But he hit the dog, and, somebody on the internet found it and shared it. And that's where my head exploded today. And yeah, I'm coming out and just saying, hey, you know what? I'm no longer supporting anything to do with Chrome. So if you guys want to talk about it, great. If not, you don't have to. I had to get that off my chest, and I'm more than willing to talk about it. I'm really kind of offended by the whole deal, because this guy is just, he's turning out not to be a very good guy. And I'm like, what the, indie comics don't have enough problems. And he's out there representing everybody, just sitting on stream, getting stoned and punching his fucking dog. That's great. That's just great. Dun, 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 dun. Is the mic on? I don't know. I did record that last segment. Here's the StreamYard, folks. I recorded it because I didn't want to fuck it up. And I'm on fire. I have no idea why Pops is doing the shit he does. I don't know why he hit his dog. I just know, it's none of my business, I guess. Everybody each to their own. But this doesn't represent indie comics. This isn't how it's supposed to be. And it just pisses me off. So I had to say something. It's just, it's just how it is. I've kind of had a real bad opinion of him for some time. And I was trying to overcome it. And it was kind of funny and ironic that the puppy promotion I did a couple of days ago was like a day before this video hit. See, I don't even know what that's about, brother. And you're more than welcome to come on and talk if you want. I just want to kind of get this out there because, it's just one of those things. I'm like, this is not good. This can't stand. We can't have this happening. It just drives me crazy. He talks about how he does everything for creators. It's all to get everybody exposure. But I'll tell you, I invited him here tonight. And he thought I was mad at him about Lola. Lola's the woman in the video when he hits the dog. And I'm like, I don't care who you hang out with, dude. But he was like, it's my channel and my way. And nobody tells me. I'm like, whatever. But don't hit your fucking dog. I said, come on and explain why you hit your dog. Hey, Tim, what's up, brother?
Well, I mean, how hard was like a full-on punch or something?
Did you? So, like, I don't know if you caught the video.
I've never seen it.
All right, let me see if I can pull it up real quick. Hey, brother Rick. Let's see. Did I add Rick?
Well, I will say this. Maybe we should pray that he, whatever.
It looks like it was just a little slap. The dog yelped a little bit.
I don't care what it was. This was fucked up. Okay, hang on.
Was that a whimper? Was that like a...
Hang on. Here.
Start making him a little bit of money, but that's no reason to everybody to bail on Varian. Quit,
motherfucker! Every time I see that, I want to like smack his head.
Go away.
Like
that was kind of like he took it his fist and went like.
Yeah, to me it was just messed up though, man. Like the dog is sitting there whimpering. I don't care why the dog is whimpering. Take care of it. Put on a promo video for 5 minutes and take the dog out for a piss. Yeah. I don't know. And this shit is what's representing comics right now, at least to a segment of the indie sphere, And I'm like, nah, this is bullshit.
Well, maybe we should pray for him. Maybe he needs some prayer or something.
Well, he definitely needs prayer, but he also needs, honestly, I'm going to be honest. I feel like it needs to be talked about because he has a way of shoveling all his shit in the shadows. And then nobody knows what he's done. And he just keeps rolling along going, I'm here to help everybody. No, you're not. You're here because you want to do something for you.
I'm not allowed on his show, so whatever. It doesn't bother. I was like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, I don't even know what that's about. You know what? I've never asked you because you know why, Tim?
Why?
Because I know you. You've been like ever since I've met you. You've been super cool. Yeah. I'm like whatever.
It was something. Ahead. It was something I barely. It was something a year ago, and I think it was like almost over a year ago. I'm not quite sure. I don't remember the details. I remember it was on Facebook. Christian,
was one of his co-hosts. I remember hearing about that from you and him when he was on, I think here with you.
It was
6 months ago or whatever it was.
It's not a co-host; it's a moderator.
Well,
yeah, it's
something like that.
Whatever
Anyways,
it was,
something to do. Somebody did something to do with this show. They knew that.
Whatever it was, I'm pretty sure you weren't hitting dogs on streams. That's really where I'm upset.
No,
and you know what, Mr. Yanafui is exactly right. Occasionally you do have to hit the Liams, but But yeah, dogs are off the list, man. I'm sorry. At least in that case, like if the dog was attacking him, you know, I get it. I know there's circumstances when the dog has to get hit, and that's really it, when the dog's attacking something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you could easily just pull on its collar and say, "Stop it." You know?
Well, and I know this dog not personally, like I've never petted her or anything, but I've seen her in many streams. You know, before Pops and I were not friends, we were really decent friends. You know, I watched his streams all the time. I was on several of them. I was quite familiar with the dog. I'd spoken to him on the phone. That's why it was such a shock to me. So, yeah, I know. Apex, Lola, I don't understand that whole thing. The only reason I showed those videos is because a real live investigator, someone who's trained and licensed, went into this. And I know for a fact, because I watched the stream, Varian was like, yeah, I'll cooperate, I'll help. And as the investigator actually started doing the work, apparently Varian like kind of went, no, stop, you know, whatever. You heard the video, I'm sure. But Pops is there, you know, he's like representing all creators, but how can you do that while you got somebody who just got caught ripping off 7 creators? To me, it's not a good, it's not only not a good look, it's not good business, you know?
No, it isn't.
Like there hasn't even been any cooldown time. Like I could see if it'd been like a year or two and, you know, they had figured out restitution, whatever they need to do. But hot off the trail of this, he's got to, you know, stream with whoever you want, Pops, but he's got her in the book. Or like I went to the campaign page today and her name's no longer there. But when he did the Bleeding Fool article on the 14th, he quoted himself as saying, her and Varian were 2 of the creators. So I don't know what's going on with that. I don't really care. My main concern is the guy hit a freaking dog on live stream and like nobody seems to know about it, but that was because he hit it. And I don't know who found it, you know, maybe God released it through the sacred archives of internet, you know, trolling. I don't know, but it popped up this morning and I got hot fast. And you guys know me. By the time I came to Tism Skism, I'm like, I'm going to talk about this.
Yeah,
shit
well, this was what Lorenzo was talking about the other night, I think.
Isn't that crazy, Rick? It's like, I was watching it unfold, and like, actually, when I was talking to Lorenzo this morning about this, because I talked to him too, and I was just like, you know what? It kind of all adds up, because I do remember hearing something about this weeks ago. And like, maybe that is why I got the little idea about no animals were harmed while making this book. But the point is, no animals were freaking harmed while making my book. And he can't say the freaking same. It's like, what the hell, dude?
Yeah.
I don't know. And maybe I'm being a little reactive.
Let's just hope that's not. Let's just hope
that's how I am.
Let's just hope that's not a common thing he does.
Well, all I know is that, like, I'm not. So I was following Cromniverse because I had backed it, and honestly, I hope that the book funds, but I just stopped backing it. I can't do it again. You know, like after I saw that, I just want to like reach out and adopt that freaking dog and take care of it, even though it was one hit and it's probably not a habit. Yeah. I hated the way the whole thing looked. You know, he just, I don't know. I know the video's blurry, but he looks so ticked and it looks so natural for him to reach down and hit her. And I'm like, that's just messed up. And I know abuse, you know, I've seen it before. That's just messed up. You're not going to tell me it was his first time or only time. It's like, Has
he been pretty quiet lately? Because I know that people are kind of talking about it.
He's been kind of quiet all day. He did respond to an email I sent to him, but it was also nasty, and he didn't even acknowledge the dog hit. He was upset about Lola.
Hey,
what's
guys.
up, Miss Rena?
Hi, what are we talking about?
We're talking about Pops popping his dog online.
Oh my God, I have so many stories to tell you guys about Pops. He's been spamming me with DM messages on Twitter, basically begging me to come back on his show. And then the last message he gave me basically told me to go fuck myself because I am unappreciative of him. So
I understand. Nice. Actually, Tim and I totally understand. We've gotten the kind of the treatment like that. I'm sorry to hear it.
He's done it to you guys, okay?
He's done it before, in his own way for different things, but we understand. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I've been trying to promote my comic, which is launching next week.
Yeah, I've been retweeting it. You know what? Make sure you come by on Wednesday night when we're doing the stream if you get a chance, and we can run through your book.
Yeah, I would love that. It's just I've been so tired all week.
Girl, I understand.
Well,
hey, Rick.
I'll tell you, you're about to do a campaign. You're going to get a lot more tired.
Yeah.
Because you really have to pound the pavement, getting out there and all that for trying to get on as many shows as possible to promote your book. Anybody that will have you on, you got to get out there.
Yeah.
Well, that is true. And here's the question, and I don't mean to just, I don't know what I'm doing.
Anybody that'll have you on.
Here's the thing, in the big picture, what the heck is going on with Pops? I don't want my IP associated with Comic Madness now. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah. I've been iffy about going on a show because of different things that have happened with him.
Keep in mind, guys, that the reason why he has beef with me is because I wouldn't launch on his channel. I was being told by other people who are also experienced with the crowdfunding platform to launch on Michael Bancroft's channel because it'll benefit me. It'll benefit my project. And I took their advice and I told Pops I was thinking about launching on Bancroft instead of your channel because Pops' channel doesn't really have high numbers to begin with.
Yeah. Well, they've been declining. Yeah.
And then he started throwing a tizzy at me, first trying to bully me back on his show, then another message with him apologizing for his behavior. Yesterday, he basically told me to go fuck myself because I'm an unappreciative guest, and he was quote unquote working for me, promoting Black Rhapsody. Now he said he's going to stop. I'm like, okay.
I know. That's how he does it, and he makes you feel like shit when he does it because he talks down. And it's very easy for an indie creator who's not so big like myself and like anybody else here to suddenly feel like the world is against you. And he just kind of lets you sit there. I have to tell you, though, breaking away from him has been so positive for me in terms of my production. And it's getting better.
I was going to say, everybody forgets that he went completely anti-CG when he was backing that it was supposed to be an alternative platform called Indie Crowdfund.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, everybody forgets. And then also he kind of like
that?
Yeah.
It was supposed to be being run by Mike and Wendy Wheeler.
Yeah.
And I remember Larry from Naomi Comics. He did a little thing on it, and Pops really took offense to it.
Yeah.
And the thing I don't get, is I really wanted to help the guy when I met him. I didn't have any idea about the past, like with the crowdfunding thing. That's the first. This is really the first I've heard of it tonight.
Here's the kicker. Nobody made money on it except for his wife.
Yeah, I don't doubt that. It's just it's such a scam, and I don't know if people even care. It's hard to know if people are really interested in what it's really about, or if they're just like, you get caught up in moments, you get caught up in excitement. Pop will let anybody on to promote, and that's fantastic. But there's a price for that too, and maybe it's not so fantastic because let's face it, I'm going to be honest. I've looked at CromCon at times, and I'm like, any one of us could be running a stream talking about other people's comics and get the same amount of views. Yeah. It's not that hard. It's just that I thought he was just a retired dude doing this for fun.
but there's really like this territorial thing with him, and I don't know, like it's kind of dangerous. I mean, in
Yeah.
terms of like you put your IP out there, like had I agreed to be in the Cromniverse with Cyclopean, my guy would right now be in a book where there's going to be sexual situations and pot references, and I'm supposed to play along like that would be okay for a kid book. And I'm like, no, that's not how I would want it, not the context, you know.
I could see Cluster being in that book, but not.
I could have seen Cluster too, but I at that point when we were arguing about it, and he finally recommended maybe, you know, or said maybe we could use Cluster. I was like, yeah, I'm not using anything with you, buddy. Because when he argued with me, I got real quick. I quickly, just like I'm sure Rena did, when the turn comes, the snap is like the snap of a finger, and all of a sudden you are no longer the wanted artist. You are the dickhead, the one who didn't, you know.
Yeah. He had the audacity to call me out in a tweet of his the other day.
Yeah, there was somebody well, not as bad as Pops, I'll say, that I was supposed to have a crossover with, and they wanted me to use the Canadian Shield. I didn't really want to, but I did. The story, in my opinion, sucked. I wanted to use a different character that would have made the story slightly better. And
oh no, is it me?
No.
Is it me? I remember the Canadian Shield crossover. We will do it.
No. Hey, I'm writing that one.
Oh, hey, Vicky.
You never suggested.
Hi.
Hi, Vicky.
You never suggested.
Vic, lady.
You never said the
Shut
Canadians.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to put what's his name? Chris's mind at ease.
I'm just kidding.
So, Vicky,
it's nice
a
to
pretty
meet you, Miss
fucked up
Rena.
situation. How are you?
I am okay. Yeah, I am all right. I missed watching my video twice. But that's okay. I'm sorry.
Well, I did clip out the music part with the promotion only because I wanted to play it. I had
That's
a double loop.
fine. No,
And,
I had just put the that was the trailer from their Indiegogo, and I just put it at the end of the video to help promote the artists themselves because they're the ones that
Right.
got screwed. So you
Honestly,
know.
I don't know if it's still active, but if it is, it's worth a look because it is a great deal, man. You know,
Yeah.
9 books, $25.
Yeah, and they all did, get pretty well screwed. So
Yeah,
they
and
printed those books. They got to go somewhere. It'd be great to help those guys out. Yeah.
yeah, it would be really good. And see, the thing about it, it's like that video should have been shocking enough just seeing a dude who's supposed to be representing all these creators hanging out with Lolly, whatever her name is, Lola.
Lola.
Well,
But he freaking hits his dog. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have
And-
a video.
You know, we
Like
had covered that Black Rose Comics. They had this big stream where they started talking about it and the Liberty thing, and we talked about it the next night. Dean and I did on our channel on live stream, and like nobody paid attention. Right? I had
Right.
JDA was EFAPing the stream, and he started.
EFAPs a lot of things.
Yeah, he started excoriating us for going after small indie creators, meaning Varian and Lola. Like, didn't even watch it. And I'm just like, oh, for crying out loud. And then the next week, Jojo Kun, who's that certified fraud investigator,
Right.
the glowy, he did his first video about it, his first stream. And then so we waited, and then the next night we streamed about it again, and I put together that video. But nobody in the higher ups of Comicsgate wanted to talk about it because it reflects poorly on Comicsgate, right?
And
so you don't get any of the big. You had, I think, Bancroft was the biggest channel that talked about it.
Right.
But none of the other big channels did. So a lot of people still don't even know, which is
Right.
sad. And they
It's
still.
funny you say.
Well,
You say
I didn't
upper
know
CG
anything about
and
it
then
until
after getting
just
1%
tonight.
of them.
Yeah. Well, it's,
I don't know.
you know.
The thing is, you know that Pops buries this shit. I know he does firsthand. He will not talk about it if he's not forced to. He was invited to come here tonight, and he just won't do it because if he gives it oxygen, he exposes himself. So
Yeah.
he'll act like nothing's going on.
Well, he did a stream that I think it's the same one the dog hitting clip is from. I didn't watch the whole stream, even though I had clipped from it, I think, or I was going to. But on 2/6 with Lola about, you know, they're saying that things, people are starting to say things about Varian, and all she would talk about was how he was sick, and, you know, Pops was there. Yeah, Liberty will be fine. Everything's going to be great, you know. And this is in the midst of people. I mean, she had to have known. I don't
Yeah.
know if Pops knew, but it's not like he distanced himself after. He still streams with her.
Well,
You know?
they've always been tight and always had each other's backs, according to him.
Which is
Like,
why
because I
I can't
remember,
imagine he didn't know something was up. I'm
right, and
sorry. I'm that's my own speculation, but
well, it's just so crazy too that he's turning around when he goes to hit the dog, and he's talking about people not turning their backs on Varian as he hits the dog. I'm like, you couldn't fucking write this in Hollywood any worse. Like, this is the worst case scenario for somebody. You're hitting your
yeah.
dog and siding with a fucking con man in front of people that you're supposed to be. You know, you, according to your own declaration, you're there to help everybody. You're there to promote everybody, but you're promoting the wrong everybody when you're promoting somebody who's gonna
Yeah.
rip off the people around you.
I don't know the
I'm
whole story about the whole what you guys are talking about beyond the whole dog thing.
yeah.
Well,
Varian and Lola basically screwed seven or
seven,
nine, seven
seven
creators,
creators, 9 books.
9 books out of thousands of dollars with
Yeah.
the
With what?
promise that Varian had a contract to put thousands of books in Spencer's gifts. So not only did
Oh,
these
right,
people
right.
not only did these people print up something like 2,500 3,000 books each for each issue, they also a few of them had their books remastered, so they paid their artists and everybody else to remaster these books, and that's a hefty sum,
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
right? And I mean, I'm not doing a comic book. I have no plans to do a comic book, but I'm pretty well aware of what it costs. You
Well,
know?
when it comes to costs, I understand that people want what they want, but I'm going to tell you guys, I do it on demand. That's why I can do such small campaigns, and that's why if we get 500, I'm like happy because
Yeah.
you know that's a mark. But I'm only paying per issue, so it's not like I have to buy 1,000 books or 500 books. I can buy 20 books, and it still works for me.
Well,
I don't make
it's
as much
Yeah.
money. That's all.
yeah,
Yeah.
but it's not like
Yeah.
these
Well.
guys didn't know him. I mean, a lot of some of these people, a few of them had known Varian for years,
Yeah, well, I
right?
mean, their investment shows a lot of trust because I don't have to put that much on the line to make a book. They put thousands of dollars
Yeah,
trusting that this was a big break. This was like the Walmart break for Red
Fools.
Rooster or something, you know?
yeah,
Yeah, and I don't even think that break did him very good. He's, he hasn't been
Well,
putting. I don't think he's been putting out a lot of books at Walmart. He put out
that's
what,
nothing
4
new for
books?
him.
Yeah, well,
yeah,
I guess that's a entirely different topic, but
Oh Lord, the legends of
yeah.
CG.
The legends and lore,
the
right?
Yeah.
stories, the stories
Yeah.
of CG.
Now, somebody once asked me if I'm anti a pro and pro CG, and I said I'm pro me.
I'm pro Me Too, but I'm going to be honest. I'm pro CG when it's presented in the proper light.
Yeah, I can see that.
If you listen to someone like, go ahead, Vicky.
Oh no, go ahead, Chris. I'm sorry.
Well, when you listen to someone like Lorenzo explain what CG is in his heart, I agree with that. When you listen to someone talk about how, you know, like they're there to kind of like give the alternative to the mainstream, I'm down for that. It's the stupid stuff like what we're talking about tonight. There will be
Yep.
people who will ignore that you know this guy's hitting his dog on a stream, and like they'll just act like it's no big deal, and then people on the outside look in and go, well, that's what CG is about, and it's like, no, that's just some weird ass click over there. I don't know what the fuck that is.
Yeah, I've always been of the belief that CG's biggest problem is either ignoring or excusing the really bad shit. right?
Yeah, the
And
drama, the infighting and the drama.
yeah, I mean, some of it is just natural. Some of the infighting, some of the drama, but I mean, like the really bad actors that people will just ignore, continue to promote,
Yeah.
continue to work with. I mean, Dark. I'm sorry, Dark Gift, but he did that stream where he was all upset that people were shitting on Pops because it was going to affect the 15 artists on this anthology book, and I'm like, well, you went into bed with Pops.
Right.
Right?
Well,
Like,
I
I mean,
messaged him and
Pops
asked
is
him to come tonight.
yeah, his reputation has, is not great. I've heard some horrible things about how he treats people behind stage. I was listening to you, Miss Reina, or
Yeah,
when
I
I
can show
came
you
in
the
on the
screenshot.
stream.
I could DM them to you if you want me.
The way he talked to Chris and
Yeah.
treated Chris and Diana. I mean, I just and you're not the only ones, right?
So,
The
Miss
first
Rena, let me share something with you though. Lorenzo gave me some advice. Now, I do have screens of everything that he and I said to each other, but don't release them unless like you really have to, like unless he's saying you lied about something, because it's a trust thing. And Lorenzo was right. If I start releasing, private DMs, then as a publisher, as a creator, it can infringe, it can impinge my reputation. It can make it
yeah, it can
lesser.
bite you in the ass. I
Right.
don't
So I'm
release.
being very careful about that. I've spoken openly and invited him to come oppose it. If I've said anything that he doesn't agree with, please
Yeah.
come on. I'm ready to talk.
I mean, my content has been, exposed shit, and I don't even share my own DMs. So,
Right. Yeah. But you at least you
you
have like
know.
the investigation thing in your thing. I'm like, I want to make comics. Like when I
Yeah,
came
you can't
into the
really do
whole
it.
Twitter thing, people told me to come here to publicize. And I get into Twitter and all of a sudden it's like I'm getting into fights left and right because I think like everybody wants the same thing I do. And of course nobody wants the same thing anybody wants, So at first, my first 6 months in Twitter, I was fighting everybody in War Campaign and Ethan and all that stupid shit, not understanding what was going on. And when I finally got my bearings, I keep running into little things like this. It's like, well, this isn't little though. This really upsets me.
This isn't really little.
No.
It's being treated like it's little. The first time I saw Pops, shit, I think it was either Dark Gift or Finatra, probably one of Finatra's streams, maybe like months and months and months ago, right? And I'm looking at this guy and I'm thinking, who the fuck is this? Right? He's talking like some big shit, like he's some huge promoter, like literally some promoter. And I'm thinking, what has he been working over at Kickstarter? Working on Kickstarters and shit. So we don't know who he is because he hasn't been doing the Indiegogo scene with Comicsgate, and that turned out to be completely untrue. That was just I was like, so I'm like, so it's just a dude who was given a Facebook group.
Right.
And
basically.
that's
Actually, I don't think given. I think he created it.
I don't think, from what I understand, somebody else created it and turned it over to him. But I could be wrong. But either way, he's just some dude with a Facebook group. And
right.
Shit, I could start a Facebook group and come in and act like I know what I'm talking about.
Honest to God, if I swear to God, if any one of us did what he's done, and not in hitting the dog, I mean just setting up in our cellar and every day getting up and promoting other people's books, you would be able to build a very similar following and probably better because you would have better manners. But it's like
I think I'm already a little too toxic for that, but thank you.
Well, yeah, you walked into the you're the investigator. That's why DV. It's like when we appeared on your show, remember I called you guys the most feared couple in CG.
Yeah. Yeah.
I always feared it. Well, I didn't fear it, but like you knew if like Dean and Vicky were talking about you were probably gonna have a problem. Like you probably got caught doing something. And I missed that.
No, I like some of the principles of CG or what it's supposed to be, the whole DIY thing and being kind of an alternative to the mainstream. But some of the times I'm like, what the hell does any of this shit have to do with comic books?
I I always wanted to see Comicsgate as more of a network of people actually helping each other, giving more advice about how to do print files, how to find all the practicalities, how to actually build an Indiegogo page, and not just, find an artist or make sure, that you emphasize, please hire a frickin' editor. Like all the things, the little practical things, but nobody does that really. Even
Right.
even from what I understand, even behind the scenes, there isn't a lot of that. You'll find some people who are extremely helpful, but there's not a lot. And that's what I always was kind of hoping CG would be more like. I understand everybody's competing,
Well, that's part of the problem is I think at some point everybody realizes, oh, that guy's going for the same, the same backers I am.
Yeah.
So there is a conflict, but
but in
one of
some
the
ways
things,
we're not, because we all have different genres and type stuff. Like, my Christian comic book is not going to sell to somebody who's not going to be into that sort of thing. And I
right,
know
like Cluster
that.
Fudge would be on a very different level, whereas Canadian Shield and Cyclopean can kind of intersect. There is all sorts of cool dynamics in genre, but I guess the bottom line with CG though is like they do kind of all feed on, we all feed on the same hashtag when we're using it. It's it's like how effective, where is the point of diminished returns? I don't know.
Yeah, but part of CG was supposed to be, Marvel and DC at the time, and probably still are,
Still now,
treating
yeah,
their
definitely.
customers like trash. We're supposed to be. We don't treat our customers like trash.
Well, yeah, but we know all our customers by first name because we've got so few.
Yeah. But even that isn't something that has managed that Comicsgate has managed to hold on to, right? I mean,
Right.
how many of these big creators, never mind the small creators, who actually smaller creators tend to do a bit better getting their books out on time.
Oh yeah.
Right, because the focus is not on us. The focus is on them.
Because I track all that stuff. I have spreadsheets up the ass.
Wow.
And I can tell you who's late and how many's late and how many have been early.
I can admit my first book was a couple months late, but that was due to problems with getting my money from Indiegogo. But as soon as I got my money, things were printed, and
there's a couple months.
And then I had my coloring book, and it was early because I had no problems getting the money from Indiegogo.
The thing is, though, like what I find is that there's to be honest with ourselves, we're not even tipping like the small bottom sector yet. So when Vicky talks about the big guys, like Ethan Van Sciver, like if he likes one of my tweets, it's like 1 in a billion, and don't expect him to remember that he liked it because he doesn't really like me. You know what I mean? And that's cool. I don't mind being like that with him. But
real quick interjection here: if you have a coloring book, you may want to consider putting it on Amazon. Amazon is a huge market for adult coloring books. You can make you can do really, really well on Amazon with an adult coloring book. Just saying.
I'm not sure whether I'd call it an adult coloring book because it's basically my characters from my
right. But I'm just saying, it's
she
not...
says adult though. She doesn't necessarily mean pornographic. They have like books that
No,
are literally themed.
I know there's cool adult coloring books out there that are not pornographic. I know they're.
Gotcha. Okay.
I just mean things. It's not, not for your 4-year-old to color outside the lines.
Vicky, you actually kind of give me an idea because I have all these like million sketches that like I could clean up and do something like that with because that would be good.
There's
because they don't really fit in any
avenues.
book.
There's really all sorts of avenues besides Indiegogo that are available.
Right.
I mean, if you have something that's more like YA oriented. Scholastic. Try submitting it to Scholastic and see if they'll publish it. They are the largest publisher of comics.
Yeah,
And they
I
will,
work in education, and they are a scary force.
and
They are very powerful.
and it's growing. Scholastic just grows by leaps and bounds every year.
You know, I remember
They had like 40% growth last year.
I
Yeah.
might do that. Put it up on Amazon. I might actually, though, I'd have to, I think, change 2 pages, just because I got a bunch of people from the community to do some pictures in it.
You're right,
You know,
Lily.
besides myself and me and the one person that put 2 in are on the out. So I don't want to be making money off that possibly, and him getting on my back because of it.
Anyway, I didn't even fund fully, and I was able to get my books out to people.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say.
It's possible.
Well, especially if you've got the right planning and you know how you're going to do it. If you know what you need and you don't exceed that, like people, I think get screwed up when they offer stretch goals. Like Diana was doing this when we were talking stretch goals. She was like adding all this stuff, and I'm like, wait, honey. So when you say at $1,000 you want to do X, Y, and Z, you realize you have to do that for everybody in the $500 mark too, right? What? Yeah. And you can't just keep adding stuff on because you have to do it for everybody below them. It's like a reverse pyramid. Really? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't. That tends to be a big hang up for a lot of people.
But I think a lot of people forget it, and they look and they go, well, that's only $1.50 each. That's not that expensive. No, it's not for just the next
and that
50
stretch goal is
backers.
going to get more backers. Well, I mean, not necessarily.
You got to get the balance right.
Yeah, it depends on how much it's going to cost. You know, like you know, you got to put it between the stretch goals, right? You know, like say you put, you know, you have a stretch goal of 1,000, the next one's 2,000. You know, and you're making bookmarks. Okay, so to get that extra $1,000, you know, it's going to be so many more backers. So maybe you have to print up 200 bookmarks. You know, can you print up 200 bookmarks for $50 or $100 to justify, you know, to take out of that $1,000?
But the problem comes down to like, okay, so like we had
Which you
big
probably
eyes
can.
when we started Trolls Exposed. You know, looking at what we want to do, we looked at plushies because, of course, everybody wants a plushie right now. And I quickly decided, no, this is like so. Trolls Exposed, to get back to Pops for a second, was born because Pops didn't want the story that I had come up with initially, that I was fine with him not wanting, but he made a big issue out of it. So I started the book based with that story, and it branched out. But like I never would have done it if not for Cromniverse. You know what I mean? Like I only did it because I really liked the story and wanted to do it after all. So like it's not that big of a deal to me. It is a big deal. I love the book, but like this wasn't the plan. Like Cyclopean 4 is still being, you know, colored slowly in the background so that when Trolls Exposed is done, I don't have to do much of anything. I can just hand Diana the next file and away we go. But it's like it's been a distraction.
Yeah, I can believe. Well, especially with being an over 100-page book. You know,
Well, that's just my normal output.
Between
Well,
me and Diana, we equal the, you know, maybe the 20 pages extra. So you're dealing with like 100 pages of the book.
Well, no, I'm really fortunate because the Hall of Fame is about 8 pages, so that's nice, and that's really just something else. And Krista is actually, I think, going to 12 pages. So it's like there's, you know, and then you have
the mine's 8, so 8 and 12 is 20, right? So.
Well, but then you have like the cupcake ads, which are a lot of fun, and I've got a lot of surprises for those. And
yeah,
like
but all that stuff is adding up to the 100 pages, is what I'm saying. So you're doing 100 pages worth of art for this.
Yeah, but it's not really. Well, I guess it is. It's just how I go. Like, and the quality.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's a big deal, but well, it is, but it isn't compared to, you know, like Cyclopean 4, which is what, 20 or 30 pages worth of art?
Right. But I've been doing it since like mid-January, so I've got almost 70 days. That's no time, no problem at all. I mean, on a good night, I can do 18 pages in 24 hours, right, Terry?
Yeah, you can. You can.
The 24-hour challenge that I keep failing.
Yeah, but you don't complete everything on those 18 pages either. So
no, it's true, but
not really. But the whole point
effort is there.
The whole point is to get the idea down.
And it's a ton of fun. I think maybe you should do it with us this year, Rick.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm thinking about it. I'd want a good story, 24-page story planned out first.
You can do that. Like you can plot it out and stuff.
You can plot it out. You just got to wait to draw it.
Yeah. Well, like I mean, written and all that, not necessarily panels and all that.
Right.
Right.
I'd do that digitally. I have my idea of how I would get it done, but
Rock and roll, Rick. Rock and roll. That's all you got to do.
That's all.
I'm just gonna have a good, like I said, a good 24-page story ready.
Somebody just came in the back, but my window is weird. Hang on, I have to enlarge it.
Well, Rick, year before last,
I can't get.
I did a 28-page story in 15 hours.
Yeah, you did.
Pretty good.
So, Mike, did you catch the video?
Huh?
Have you seen the video
What video?
of Pops hitting his dog?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, that was the general theme of the show tonight.
Hi, Mike.
I don't know. Does anybody want to sit through the video one more time? Just him? I don't know. I don't know if anybody wants to see
Well,
it.
I just got through with, as you probably know, Chris, I just got through with my stream, my historical.
No, I had no idea. I'm sorry, brother. I'm like all caught up in the drama tonight.
Yeah.
I'm really upset, so I apologize. It's not with you though. Don't misunderstand me.
Yeah, I guess I can understand. Basically from what you're telling
Question.
me.
How long ago was this thing?
Well, the more I know about it, I think it was about 3 or 4 weeks, right? Yeah.
Oh, so it was this year then.
Oh yeah, but he hid this crap. So what I understand is he put the video on private. And
it was Lola's. It was Lola's video, and it's no longer on her.
Ooh. So I do have a question. Was this why he wasn't on Bancroft's show for Cromniverse? Does anybody know? Because I thought I heard a rumor about that, and I have no idea.
No, it was the her explanation about what was going on with her husband and when he was so sick, and there's just all this stuff being said about him, and that was all the stuff about the Liberty scandal.
Oh, all right.
Liberty scandal.
Chris, can you kind of quickly catch me up to what you're talking about, just so I?
Well, basically, I'm talking about.
Okay, Chris, roll the film.
All right, I'll show you real quick.
That's a 20-minute film.
No, I'm going to show you the
dog part.
Yeah, I'm just
that's what I'm talking about.
The dog part. I won't show you. Well, all right, hang on. All right, ready?
Ready. Buddy, to bail on Varian, quick! Oh, gotta sit right here. Go away. Go away.
One more time. Mm-hmm.
Liberty might start making him a little bit of money, but that's no reason to everybody to bail on Varian, quick! Oh,
all right, that's what I'm talking about, Mike.
Okay, so I can. Again, I didn't see it. If anything, I haven't watched as much of Pop stuff of late. Anyway, not only because I've been busy with other things. So I have. Again,
Well, to be honest, Lorenzo kind of told us something about this the other night, and then this morning,
Oh yeah,
friend
yeah.
Vicky had a video
I
of it.
wasn't trying to cause any drama. It's just I saw you had the no animals were harmed in the making of the show, and it was a puppy, and I was like, oh, holy shit! Is this another troll thing?
But Lorenzo, how crazy are these dominoes, though? I put that up.
Yeah, you were just actually just thinking of getting a puppy.
Yes,
you
I've
didn't
been
know
teasing
about
Diana
all
about
this.
getting a puppy, and
Yeah,
Diana's like, "No, we can't get a puppy. The puppy will get hurt with the floors." Blah 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 blah. And then the very next morning, Vicky, you shared that video and changed my day.
I hadn't seen the video either, so like, yeah, this is like.
And I know it's one punch, and everybody kind of goes, "Well, how hard was it?" Blah blah blah. I'm gonna be honest. I don't give a flipping. I don't care. He hit it hard enough to make the dog whip, and I know the dog in terms of I've seen her on other streams. She's an old like lovable dog. Like, yes, she's whimpering. Take care of it. Bring her upstairs to somebody. Put her outside and go pee. You got a million fucking promos on your fucking hard drive for comic books. Run 10 minutes of them and feed the dog. Whatever it is she wants.
Yeah.
You don't hit her, you figure it out.
Yeah, it's definitely I'll just say it's hard to watch. It's like it's really and then it gets kind of I get one of those things where when I see stuff like that, it can replay in my head, and it's messed up.
Well, it's unfortunate.
I don't like having images like that floating around my head.
It's unfortunate, and like I got to be honest, I've watched it way too much today. But
Yeah,
now
it's not healthy.
now that I've had a chance to talk about it, I'll be able to get over it, and that's why this show is called Tism Skism, guys. Because I'm sorry, I'm freaking autistic. That's what they call it. I was Asperger's when I was diagnosed.
Hey, you're in from my perspective, Chris. You're speaking to the choir.
I know, man. You're the baritone, brother.
I'm the same way. Sometimes you get something, you get that little thing in you, and you just got to work through it. Something talk it out until it's out.
Well, you know me. It's like kids and mental illness and animals will always get me to be like, "Oh, you gotta have a stream because I can't take it." Sorry,
I want to make it clear that I don't want to in any way sabotage the Enter the Combiverse, that campaign that Dark is running, and
but I'm going to be honest. I hope it's fun.
Don't want
to see if they can make all their promises.
That's not how I would have. That's not. It's just not what they say as far as how to, in modern dog training manuals, and I've got several. You don't. That's not really how to do things because you can actually make a dog aggressive if you hit them.
My dog weighed 90 pounds, and I knew she was going to be huge when she was a puppy. And the only way I ever disciplined her was by turning her over on her back. Not throwing her, but turning her over onto her back, holding her down by her throat, not squeezing, just holding her down at the top of her chest and staring in her eyes till she looked away. And then by the time she got bigger, all I had to do was grab her face and stare at it. And her eyes would go off to the side.
Yep.
And she didn't even go on the furniture without asking first.
Well, I want to point out that girl, he punched her and she didn't retaliate. She yipped and ran away. You can hear the dog run away.
You could hear her in pain.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, I'm not a tree hugger, but I am an animal lover. And I was just like, that shit's uncalled for from that particular freaking guy. No.
That's just and the way it happened, it almost felt like that was just a regular thing.
Well, it was. He didn't even stop his sentence until he finished it. He was like, he was talking about burying. He said, there's no reason for people to abandon bear. Boom, man. What?
Yeah. You
just freaking hit a dog, man. And,
I can't speculate. I don't know. I'll just say that that one time was,
once
enough for too many times.
I'm sorry, brother.
Just one time is one too many.
Well, I know that we only saw one time, but I'm telling you, brother, so I've seen a lot of animals get hit in my time, and I've never been the one hitting them. That was not the first time. Like the first time someone hits an animal, they usually recoil and go, "Oh shit, what did I just do?" This was common. This was like, boom, go away. It was natural. It wasn't like, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be a dick about it.
Oh,
but
I'm
I've
just
seen
saying
it before.
I can't prove that or anything. I'm just saying that what I saw was very disturbing.
I think
going out based on what I saw.
I think what Chris may be getting at with it is that based on what can be seen from there, this wasn't the first time this happened. I think. But I'm saying even if we don't engage in conjecture, you observe the behavior pattern in the situation here. This has happened before. I think that's where Chris.
Right. So, ladies and gentlemen, for the record,
even if we don't make that assumption, it's bad enough that it happened this time.
But wait, in my opinion, I am willing to make the conjuncture, and I just want to note that Lorenzo is not, and that's fair. But I'm saying I'll make that conjuncture, brother. I'm saying I've seen that kind of shit before, and that was not his first time punching that dog.
No. In my case, I don't like making definitive statements that I can't prove, But yeah, it's not at all healthy, I mean,
in saying that though, I want to say it's my opinion. You're right. Yeah. I cannot prove it. It is speculation and conjecture.
There you go.
I fully admit it. But yes, that's my opinion.
Based on observed behavior.
It's based on my stupid-minded head. I'm just telling you. That's
people on CG are kind of litigious, and so I'm saying, basing it on all I can do is based on, what we observed, and this what I observed was fucked up, and it's replaying in my head, and I don't like that imagery.
I could play like a cartoon, but it would be so out of character.
But listen, I'm gonna have to go. It was nice meeting all of you whom I haven't
Vicky,
spoken
thanks for
to
coming
before.
on, and thanks for letting us use your video, by the way.
Oh, anytime, you're welcome to.
Oh, and feel free to sign up for Melvin #2 on Indiegogo.
I will for sure. I will. You guys have a great, and Miss Rainey, your book's really nice.
Thank you.
Saw on the preview page.
It's going to be amazing.
Yeah. You guys have a great night.
You too, Vicky.
All right, Vicky.
Thanks for going on stream. Well, that was cool. That good that she could weigh in on the topic.
When I say she changed my day, she literally did, because I woke up and I'm just like, okay, what am I going to advertise with today? And I was trying to think of like funny little things I could do for a troll ad. And there it was. And it was just sitting there in my timeline, and I'm like, oh shit. So I talked to you this morning, remember?
And hello, Diane.
Yeah. It wasn't one of those things that I could really, the way those DM groups are set up on Twitter. It's not something that seemed like it could be like very constructively discussed in there.
Well, I had to get away from there because I'm telling you the truth. I wanted to just like, okay, every time I post from now on, I'm going to spam it to this group.
Yeah. And it's probably better to discuss things in the open. That way you don't get accused of being part of a whisper network or anything like that.
By disengaging, I'm not like intentionally inflaming anybody in the group, which I didn't.
Nobody said they were offended.
I
didn't want to say, I didn't want to trigger anybody. I'm like, I'll back out for now. It's cool.
Chris?
Yes, sir.
I feel totally inflamed.
So, Chris,
sir.
I guess change the subject. Were you trying to say something earlier about the art on my screen?
I was just saying it was cool.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's page 3. I got the background pretty much done today. Monday, hopefully, I'll be redrawing the main troll and then putting all the other trolls in there.
So if we're going to talk about books for a moment, I'll tell you what I colored today.
What did you color this time?
I colored the bathroom scene where the skinny, nasty troll female uses her powers to re-endow herself with beauty and curves and shapes. Because she needed to do a certain ritual to do this, to summon up the magic. When she actually does it, she gets naked, she's in the shower, and like you literally can see her skin and bones from various angles become plump and luscious again, which is all an illusion, but it's how she makes her money.
Oh.
You know what, Chris? Robert
sir.
Crumb would be proud of you.
Who's that?
Oh, come on now. You don't know who Robert Crumb is?
Yeah, Crumb. I know.
Isn't he an author or something like that?
He's an underground comics guy from like the 60s.
60s and 70s.
Ooh, I'm gonna have to look
What
him
was
up.
that? Fritz the Cat, but the movie wasn't. I guess he didn't have any artistic control over the movie, or not much.
No.
Something like that.
But he's mainly known for the more erotic stuff in comics.
Ah.
Yeah. He had a very unique drawing style.
Unfortunately, I can spoil it and say this. I don't think this is erotic. It's more
weird.
Like it would look really cool in a sci-fi movie, but like the only people who would get excited would probably be like 15-year-olds who shouldn't be in the theater.
So the reason I bring that up because it sounds erotic the way you described it.
No, that's just because I'm spicy tonight, man. I'm all salty and stuff.
Nah, man, Andy.
Hey, Diana.
Hey, what's up, Shut?
What's
Good
up,
to see
Diana?
you, brother.
He's trying to say we're a bunch of posers.
I don't.
Yeah, but that's because he can't
I've
come on
just seen that
himself.
account around.
So,
what is that?
So, Rick. Oh, hang on. I was going to tell you, why are you so small? But because you don't have this power.
Yeah. Well, you know how I was talking about my troll, not my troll,
Yeah.
my ogre from being a fantasy story that I was, or world that I was creating. That's who he's supposed to be before he's cursed. The Emerald Warrior.
Very cool.
Okay.
Actually, I've got different pictures from Princess. I think that's Princess Laura.
Is your last name Croft?
No.
Laura Croft.
And of course,
I'm laughing at what Diana just is saying there.
There's my, of course, my ogre that the Emerald Knight turns into, or the Emerald Warrior.
So I got to tell you guys, Diana fell asleep on the couch, and I went live. I don't know how much she knows, what we've talked about. So Diana, Pops didn't show up. We didn't have anybody defend him, so I don't know. It was a good blow steam stream, but like we didn't get a chance to resolve anything with any of them.
I'm kind of glad Pops didn't come on this stream.
I don't think he's the kind of person who can keep calm and explain himself rationally.
Well, he used to at least come into the chat, but I have a feeling they're probably lying low right now because that's what he does. He just denies oxygen when he's in trouble and hopes it goes away. Hopes it blows over.
Well,
what's that pounding noise? I hear a pounding noise somewhere.
Slapping your pet on a live.
Oh, that
stream
wasn't a slap. That was a backhand. That was a backhand.
Yeah, if you look at it.
For me, I thought it was a slap. My bad. Okay.
What were you saying?
Basically, hitting your pet on a live stream is a bad PR move.
It's got lesser people have been canceled for, or better people have been canceled for less. When it comes to animals, it's like, what the hell did you just do? And I'm not suggesting he gets canceled.
Yeah,
but it would have been
nice.
nice.
To be clear that I didn't.
Right.
Well, not
but it would have been nice if he
either.
apologized about it. Like
Well,
he
that's
has
all
no
the
humility.
characters that I have for that.
I'm sorry, Rick. I have you on big screen, by the way.
Yeah, I can see. I just wasn't going to interrupt anybody to say the names of the characters and all that. So, but I do have a bit of lore written for it.
There's a few friends of mine. They're working on that Enter the Cromniverse, and I wish them the best with that. On the other hand, I can say, hey, That's pretty fucked up. What he did with his dog, from at least judging by how loud it sounded.
Well, I think people need to remember there are ways to self-publish. If you need advice, there are hundreds and hundreds of independent creators who can help you. Take your own IPs and pave your way. That's the best way to do it.
But there's people who've already been put in a lot of time and effort into
that's
this.
True, but I don't necessarily mean this project.
Not even being published by Pops.
No, I don't necessarily mean in this
I
one.
wish it the best, but looking at it, I'm not sure whether I didn't notice whether it's a flexible goal. I doubt it's going to fund all the way.
Well, it's a solid 8,000, and
it's not going to fund. It's going to fail.
Yeah,
Probably.
it's just over a quarter of the way, maybe 30% of the way there.
Which that's still quite a bit of money. I mean, it's still outfunding.
That's the first time.
Chris, the book you and Chris are working on. And I'm not saying that to make you guys feel bad or anything.
No, well, we're only at like 344.
Yeah. I mean, it's quite an
But
accomplishment.
they've got a lot more people.
$1,000 or whatever they have.
They've got a lot more people working on it too, and a lot more people probably promoting, I would think. And I know my book, The Canadian Shield, it made about that much in about 60 days.
Really? Wow.
So
the biggest thing here, though, is we actually put money into this book. Like Chris Mad, we actually paid a commission for, and we are actually paying Krista Erickson. So it's a labor of love. It's a financial commitment, and whatever we make. We're not going to make. What do they call it when you get out of it's in the black? We have a ways to go.
Yeah.
But it's never been about that. Like, this has literally been a way for me to work through some stuff, and it's really helped. The troll stories are freaking awesome. And it's got nothing to do with reality, really. It's all a little world unto itself.
Yeah.
But people get upset about stuff, and I understand that. Yeah. And I'm starting to realize that, the negative forces around what's been going on, it's not my problem. Like they're affecting everybody, I think.
Yeah, so I think Dark Gift said that maybe I got this wrong, but I think he said that Pops was really helpful to him, and he was trying to do this for to kind of get so I think this is kind of like a personal, it might be a labor of love for Dark Gift.
Oh, certainly.
I don't know who's making the tennis shoes. I'm not sure how that's all going to work. It seems really ambitious as far as the different
well, I can tell you, if you've ever been on his good side, right? You feel like $1 million and you're willing to do anything because he just makes you feel really good. But piss him off sometime, and that's when you see his dark side, and it's not the same guy. It's
you're talking about Pops, not Dark Gift.
Well, Dark Gift, I think, is experiencing that good side.
Yeah, but I'm saying you're not saying that Dark Gift has some sort of...
No, actually, Dark Gift is generally a cool guy. I don't know how he got tied into this. I kind of feel bad for him, but it's his own making too. He's his own man, But I watched an interview where he said he took over like.
Doc Blaylock is also.
Well, like you said, Pops can be a very good guy. He's
and I like Ted Ferret. He's on there.
He does try and promote people, and so that looks good to a lot of people. Unfortunately, from what I can tell, Pops.
Rick, you're echoing.
Am I up to him because of me? I don't think it's because of me.
Okay, you're not now.
Yeah, what were you saying though? Who
But I think Pops makes some bad decisions in people that he gets involved with.
Pops or Dark Gift?
No, Pops. Because there's the case. I can only think of two cases really. The Mike and Mindy Wheeler, way back when they tried to do that whole crowdfunding site. And then
I've never had any issues with Mike and Mindy, but I mean,
but
guys, the thing is, Mike and Mindy had absolutely nothing to do with hitting that dog.
Yeah, but
that's really what this is about. Like, we can get all into.
Rick is talking about something else.
I know, and I just want to remind everybody that, like, no matter what happened, this is really. I'm looking at the raw character of a person and thinking, it's just bad representation for all the creators, and I just wish them all the best. I'm gonna, like Tim said, he needs prayer, but we also need to pray for everybody that something positive comes out of this. I don't know. I saw an interview with I think it was Global Frequency and Dark Gift about this very subject, about Crom Universe and all that. And yeah, he can use prayer. It's going to be a wild ride.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, also getting involved with this Lola and variant guy.
Yeah.
It seems like he makes some very bad business decisions, and really,
I do know he was
backing them.
What
I get loyalty, but you've got to have a little bit of
there's some sort of.
You can't have so
I think
much
there's
loyalty that you're blind to reality.
But I think there's a physical connection there. I think they know each other personally, and I think that changes the dynamic for whatever it's worth. I could be wrong, but I think they're both.
Yeah, I don't really know much about that. I watched Ricky's video, I think twice now, because you played it. Well, it's just so confusing as far as the whole with the Spencer Gift deal. It just confuses the hell out of me. Yeah, I could watch the video 20 times and still not quite get all of.
Well, basically, so what basically happened was an investigator got involved. One of the Comicsgate people, I guess, but he's like fully accredited, and he tried to track down who this supposed company was that supposedly had ripped off Varian. And the end of the line came down to basically it had to be Varian who created the fake company and was, basically screwing everybody. That's what it was in a nutshell. Now, I don't know if you can believe it. I don't know what's going on with the legal ramifications of that. But that's just what this guy reported.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, but there you have Pops. And it was funny because when I emailed him about tonight, because I offered him and asked him to come and defend why the fuck he hit his dog. That's exactly how I wrote it too. God bless him. But I was like, why the fuck did you hit your dog? Come tell us. But he didn't even see the video when I sent it, and he thought that I was writing about Lola. And it's like, I don't know. He's all defensive about it. I'm like, I had nothing to do. I don't care if you want to hang out with them. That's none of my business. It doesn't look good on you as someone who says you represent, all creators. Hey guys, I represent all creators, but this guy over here ripped off 10 of you.
I saw this somebody in a chat. I won't say whose chat it was because this person's been in a few chats. Well, they were calling themselves Pop's dog or something like that, and Pops had a wrench on that particular channel. He's like, it's my dog. I can time my dog.
Yeah,
that might be his way of thinking about it. It's my dog. I can discipline it how I want. A lot of people are the same way with their kids. They'll hit their kids, spank their kids, and so it's.
Didn't George's stream have a Slappy the puppy or something?
Well, there was somebody in the chat called
Punchy?
Gosh, Punchy, I think.
Yeah.
And then there's I don't know if it's an actual comic book but I think Vic was drawing something about Punchy.
Yes, Punchy was in there. He made a joke about my favorite. He said my favorite movie is All Dogs Go to Heaven, and after the punching stops, I wish I could go there too.
Ouch.
Was this the person calling themselves Punchy the dog?
That's a joke in poor taste right there.
That's dark humor.
Yeah, but it's gonna be funny when the upset dies down. I get it, but it's like one of those things where it's like, too soon, dude. Too soon. Put it away.
Some trolls though, they don't care.
Yeah, it is cool. It's cool because everybody's got to kind of process it their own way. The thing is, I think it's a mistake to ignore it, because ignoring it is what he's been doing now for quite a while with other situations.
That's
He
also
just
if somebody wanted to call the Humane Society.
At least in some of the experiences I've
Hello,
had with
Mike.
Pops, some of the experiences I've had with Pops, he doesn't strike me as somebody who finds it easy to listen to other people's vantage point.
He's an
know,
old stubborn fool.
Tim, I don't know. I think with the video going out there and getting it's slowly spreading.
Yeah.
How long before like PETA finds that shit?
I was gonna say,
like that's the dumbest thing he could have done.
It'd be easy for somebody to call Humane Society and have his dog taken away.
Yeah, I'm not into like just kind of like how people are like.
Yeah, I really hope that
like
doesn't
reporting people to like their kids to child custody or whatever.
No, not at all. I would never hope that. But how stupid is it, Lorenzo?
Yeah, I mean,
but I hear that sort of thing a lot of time in the CG and anti-CG.
Well, it's
called anti-CG or
it's out on Twitter in the 21st century. Like how long before this like catches on somewhere and it goes beyond our circle?
But you saying this, I'm gonna get somehow blamed. Like Lorenzo was in a conversation with somebody advocating, even though you didn't advocate it.
Well, let's all say I don't know where anybody else says, but I don't advocate it. I'm just saying by letting that happen, he's leaving himself very vulnerable to those wackos out there in the world.
Yeah.
Well, Pops is definitely going to have a pretty rocky next at least couple weeks, if not month. Okay, because I mean, it's not just the fact that his Enter the Cromniverse is coming up here. He's got his CromCon coming up next weekend. Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, what is that? What is CromCon? Because I've heard about it, but it's just
basically kind of an online convention he does. Like the last weekend of the month.
Yeah. I was invited to come on his Crown Club. I'm not going to go anywhere. You know I'm still on the list because the way he's acting towards me is very inappropriate.
Yeah.
I blacklisted from the CromCon, so
it sounds like it does seem like Pops does have kind of a unique way of promoting things and I mean I can see why he's got a certain following, because I'm just like, and I do think the Crom character seemed kind of like a fun character. It's just the dog hitting thing is disturbing. I can say, hey, I think I like this guy's books, but I don't
live stream doing that on
that.
the live
Yeah,
stream
I don't like that particular
PR
action.
That's going to be a major PR.
Yeah, well, and the problem is he's starting to leave a bread trail. He went on Peter's show, Peter Samedi, and kind of made an ass of himself when Peter started questioning him and he got defensive. And like,
I'm not a big fan. Okay.
Well, that stream it
Peter
was just,
either. He randomly he soft blocked me before. He was the guy who was always against using the block button, and he forced me to unfollow him before
I'll be right
before
back.
Twitter even had that option to just press on it, force unfollow. So he must have blocked and unblocked me, even though he supposedly opposes the block button.
Well,
at any
I mean,
rate,
it's not the end of the world. It's just
no. But I mean, at any rate,
tweeted the hell out of
didn't know
stuff, and he never told me he had a problem with me.
But if you didn't know, Pops went on the show on Peter's show and said, "Hey, here's my campaign. What would you suggest?" So Peter started looking at it objectively, and he started making some hard suggestions. And Pops got defensive with him.
If he asked him, then
yeah, it was bizarre, dude.
On the stream instead of off stream, which would have been maybe a better idea, I guess.
It would have been way better because the advice was great, but it's not something you want to endure in front of the public,
Yeah, well, as far as Peter's concerned, what I do think Peter does. I always found his streams to be interesting. I just had kind of I just wish he had told me why he had a problem with me. Is all.
Well,
it's not the end of the world that he soft blocked me or whatever. He does do a good job with
What
telling
was it
people to
that
make
you
books.
were suddenly unfollowed from him?
That happens.
Yeah, but he did that on Facebook and on
Facebook, I
2
can't say.
accounts on Twitter
Well,
and on Facebook.
I can't say about Facebook, but Twitter could easily
Yeah,
have been
yeah.
not
But it wouldn't
him
happen on
because
Facebook at the exact
Lorenzo.
same time.
But Lorenzo, you do have green skin, you know.
Yeah, you might not like. I'm not going to.
He could be prejudiced
racist.
against
I'm just saying,
green skinned people.
I have a
it's
question.
not easy being green, but
I have a question.
I don't
Yes,
think
Tim.
Peter Cimetti's racist.
We'll zip it for a few seconds. Here's a question: how long ago did this stuff happen?
As best as we can tell, the end of February.
No, I'm talking about the whole Peter Cimetti thing.
Oh, the Peter Cimetti did that a while back when he was starting to embrace EVS and maybe guys like Tug and stuff.
Well, was it a year ago? Was it?
Wait a minute, are you talking about?
I don't know. I'm just saying I've just stopped paying attention to. I stopped following Peter Cimetti's
Tim,
stuff.
Tim, what event are you talking about? Are you talking about when Pops was talking to Peter?
Well, I just.
No, he's talking about when Peter supposedly unfollowed Lorenzo on Twitter.
Gotcha. Okay.
Not just supposedly.
I'm just saying supposedly on Twitter because I don't know whether Twitter did it for him or he.
When he did it, when it happens on Facebook, and then it happens and then it happens on Twitter as well. It all happens at the same time. It's
it could be coincidental. It could not. I don't know.
It could be that he blocked you because you offended him at the moment. I don't know.
I think what he did is he would have had to block me and then unblock me because to make it so I wasn't following him. And I know Twitter does that to people too, but Twitter and Facebook are 2 separate companies. And
they are at least.
And then Peter Cimetti refused to even comment on any of it when I asked about it. So, I think Peter Cimetti's that wasn't like the most courageous thing on his part. If that was intentional, which I assume it was.
This might be. I'm trying to say something. This might be it. You do have a tendency to put out a lot of links to stuff.
Do you think maybe he felt spammed? But
maybe. Maybe he just needed a break from all the.
But somebody with a big account, and if he's verified on Twitter, there's a special thing you can just even follow other verified people on there if he's verified.
Okay.
So there's a special thing for celebrities, but it could be that. He could have just chosen to mute me.
Okay. Well, then just.
I'm not saying it's the end of the world. All I'm saying.
I have to ask. I want to ask. Have you ever met Peter?
I stopped watching his show,
Lorenzo,
and promoting his books.
Lorenzo,
around that time, for the most part.
Lorenzo.
What?
Have you ever met Peter in the flesh?
No.
Okay, he's a really cool guy in the flesh. So, I don't know what happened online. You could probably reach out to him and he'd probably be cool.
I don't really care enough. I was just pointing something. I was just pointing something out about that. I just kind of because his name came up, and I was saying that.
Okay.
No, but now that his name has been brought up, I do think there is something kind of disingenuous about him acting like he was neutral about CG, and he was on the EVS, not just CG, but on the EVS side of things.
Well, a lot of times
when the war campaign was in there, in the highest mode of some of the people in the war campaign were heavily harassing people.
Uh-huh.
But I think he has said that. I think he has come out and said things about having kind of a positive view towards CG. So I think he's a little more open about that.
See, a lot of that
Yeah,
so
well,
far
back
back,
in
I
the
don't even
day-
know about it.
Well, back in the day when he was first saying he wasn't CG, now I think he actually does say
Yeah.
CG. But back then, he was just trying to protect his business and reputation. Yeah, did he believe in basically what CG did or was supposed to be? Yeah, but he was just trying to protect his business, and I can't fault him for that.
No.
All right.
And the guy was swatted too. You know, I think it's horrible.
Yeah. Well, it's like people have unfollowed me, and like it used to get to me, but after being kind of like, online for so long, I don't even care anymore.
Yeah, the only thing I cared about was that he was the guy who was like, oh no, none of my employees can block people, and then he would have had to have blocked and then unblocked me in order to force me to unfollow.
Unless
And then
it
he
was the
didn't. Then he wouldn't
secretary.
even answer my question about that.
Maybe it was
that
the
was
secretary.
that was the only issue I had.
He's probably a busy guy and probably doesn't want to answer it.
It could have been the Russian secretary.
The Russian secretary.
Maybe it's partly because I try to stay above all this drama. But a lot of what you guys are talking about right now is just kind of going over my head.
Oh, 90% of what Lorenzo just talked about, but I'm listening going, okay. The thing is, like, I'm very simple. If I look across the videoscape and I see assholes making comics, I kind of grin and go, well, it's their right. When I see an asshole hit a dog that makes comics, I'm like, whoa. Only because it's a dog, man. You don't hit dogs. Fuck you.
At most, if they're you can give them a slight tug on their collar and saying no. But
well, you got to be the bigger man. You're on a stream, like
yeah.
So I remember when my kid was like 2-3 years old, and I'd be on AOL or the local BBS talking away, and the kid would need something. You know what? I'd put down the keyboard and go play with the kid for 10-20 minutes. I'd feed him, change his diaper, bring him over, put him in the cradle, whatever he wanted. He was fine, but the computer wasn't all consuming. And I think the problem is Pops was in that stream, and that dog was bugging him, and he didn't want to leave that stream for whatever reason, and bam, get away from me.
Yeah,
and that just
that's what it looks like. But
now, Rick and Lorenzo have probably seen me do this on a few. There are times during my streams where we'll sit there. I'll go off camera because one of the things I sometimes have to do is I have to tend to my dog.
Right.
She'll be outside like barking, and so I have to call her in and get her to go lay on her couch. You just do that. Sometimes you have to do that. It's like. Granted, I don't know the content. I don't know everything that was going on. I don't really care at this point. Aside from the fact that he shouldn't have hit his dog, especially on the stream. Okay, he should have dealt with. He should have found a way to just deal with the dog. Take a few minutes, deal with your dog, and then come back to the stream. He had to take a few minutes away to deal with his dog. That would not have done anything to his stream. So that's the only thing I can really say about it based on what I know. It's like.
Well, I have to tell you, I've had dogs for like the last 15 years, and I've never had to hit any of them ever. It's all in my stare and my intense grin. If I grin at a dog, it's so funny because if I'm staring in the eyes and I grin, they usually cower down. And I don't know why. It's just kind of funny.
Yeah.
I
wanted to back up just a little bit to the whole Peter. I want to make it clear there are some people I follow who I think publish with was it Alterna? Yeah. So I just didn't want to badmouth them, and I'm not saying Peter's a horrible person.
Okay.
I just wish I could sort that thing out.
Okay, that's cool.
So when I see him next convention, I'll say, yo, my green-skinned brother Lorenzo.
Yeah.
He wants to know come on, man, be cool.
He probably doesn't even remember what happened. It was a long time ago. It's just.
Once I bring the bright light.
Just used to retweet a lot.
And now bring the bright light to his booth, Lorenzo. and I'll flash it right in his eyes, and I'll say, "We have ways to make you talk, Peter."
I feel no twinge of the pain.
Did you guys check out the last Stackian show?
No,
I did not. Did I miss anything?
Last night, or are you talking about last week?
I watched part
last
of it
night.
yesterday, as you know.
Last night.
The what show?
Sleestackians.
I just call it the Sleestackians, but it's just the Thursday night shows on the Lorenzo Sleestack channel. Actually, give it a different name each time, each Thursday. Did you see
Lorenzo's show on Thursday nights at...
Yeah, did you see him have it wrecked then?
Are you talking about last night's show? Or
Yeah, did you guys check it out last night?
I came in
I
for a
did a
couple
little
minutes, but...
Oh, that's cool. I'm glad to hear that. Thanks. Yeah, I think I had a Hargrave on. I had George Peter Katzis. I had this guy TJ. Oh man, TJ was TJ was. Oh, and I had Risey on.
Oh geez. Sober or drunk?
Well, Risey was a lot more sober than TJ, I'll say.
It
got goofier and goofier as time went on.
It would have been early in the morning for Risey, so it's very possible he would have been sober.
Yeah, he seemed like he could have very easily been sober.
He was just starting.
So but it was an entertaining stream. Oh man.
Well, I know you were talking about, you guys got in an interesting discussion last week too. I know you were pushing that.
Oh yeah. We had a couple of one of them had to do with U.S. comics versus manga, and I thought that was a misunderstanding too. Orc War Chief wasn't saying that nobody would ever be able to buy a Western style comic. He just thought that you wouldn't be able to find too many in the brick and mortar, the traditional stores in the future, but you'd find them online.
Probably.
Because like even his local book, my LCS has a lot of DC and Marvel, almost exclusively DC and Marvel. But his is like, I don't know if he said it was like 75% or something like that manga, which surprised me. But the corporate bookstore, the big chain bookstore I went to, had a huge. I don't go out. I didn't even. I only went there one time, but I went there with my younger cousins, and then they just right away. We went to the manga section, and they want to look at it, and I recognize some of the mangas myself.
I don't know any real
I didn't
mangas.
see
I have to
any
get more
Western
involved.
style comics. They might have had some, but if they did, it was a totally different section that I couldn't find.
Well,
What, American comics?
One of the stories I covered this last week was from Bounding in Comics. They were the writer of the article was Nerdigans Inc. They were talking about how manga has been outselling Western comics, and it's been going on for a while, because I know Yellow Flash has also been covering that for the past few months or so. It's like manga, and some of the numbers they were showing you, you had 2 mangas that during a particular, I guess from what they were saying, I guess the week they were saying was from April 4th to 13th. During that time period, you had 2 mangas, Jujutsu Kaisen and
Demon Slayer.
Not Demon Slayer, One Piece, where they both sold over 1 million copies. And
I saw a bunch of One Piece books at the bookstore, by the way.
And on the Western comics, the top seller for Western comics didn't even make 10,000. It was 9,000 something. So
Go back Trolls Exposed today and help us reach that.
Oh yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, Chris, you probably do know about a few mangas, because a lot of animes were once mangas,
right?
Or still are. So if you know some anime titles, you might know manga titles. They're
Actually,
just probably
the majority of anime are inspired usually from manga.
Hey, I have this in my queue. I have to let it go. So let me see what this is. It's about 15 seconds, I think. I think it's a Slee Stackian thing. Yeah. It's
Oh,
yeah. All right. I know what that is.
Chris, did you see my full birthday ad?
Yes, I loved it.
But you can put that in your
Yeah, we need to put that in the opening.
yeah.
So Wednesday night, I hope to have many new videos, but we'll keep some of the newer videos. I want to bring back one old one in particular, but I think D Breezy has a new one I can grab. Although I like Breakaway, I've heard it so much I got it down. I'm starting to know the lyrics.
Yeah, I'm slowly working on. I'm going to be working on another ad too.
Well, the video you did for me was pretty cool.
Yeah, I have fun doing them. I don't have a very extensive video capability, like the library I'm using, but it's fun and I like doing it. Hang on, let me see something.
Although I did notice with the latest one that you did for Tim for Melvin 2, it had some Melvin 3 art in there.
Yeah, he mentioned that to me. I had no idea. Mostly because I'm a bumbling fool, but I had no idea that there was any different art. I'm like, I got all this I'm putting in, boom. And he's like, hey, that's cool. Even the Melvin 3 stuff, I guess.
Well, I easily recognize most of the Melvin 3 stuff is because I'm I'm inking it, so.
Well, that would explain a lot.
So
I don't have it.
Oh, go ahead.
I don't have that kind of knowledge about it.
So I went and I looked at it, and it's not easy being green. My last Slee Stackian show has 136 views now.
Oh, that's good.
That was crazy.
Pretty darn good, And I like to thank everybody who watched it. Even if you only tune in for a couple minutes, it's cool.
It registers the algorithm.
It's to do with and then I don't take the credit. I think there's some cool panelists who've been on lately, and some cool audience members. Most of all.
Yeah, I actually had to do two streams last night because there's a power outage that happened. Wait, give people a chance to get in here before we get started. At WrestleMania 38.
38. How you doing?
I love that gummy bear music.
Yeah, me too.
So if I were to rewatch it, it's broken into two different videos, two different streams.
Oh yeah, and in doing my, you're saying something about doing something like that for me, Chris. Just try to make sure it's not copyrighted music like that.
Send Andy the link so he can get on here.
Oh, I have no concern about copyright links, and at any time if you're like e-fapping or you're maybe listening to it in the background, there's a good chance that it'll be. At least I always get those copyright warnings, but they say it's okay. It just means that any profit I might make, they're going to give to other people.
I've had videos blocked around the entire world before.
Yeah,
you have.
So it's like we're gonna leave this video. You can watch it yourself, but nobody else in the world can.
Yeah, I get that, but that was the only reason I'm asking, because I might play it a lot on my channel, and I don't even like getting those. Like,
well, part
Well,
of the
many
part of the
times,
reason, yeah, part of the reason why Chris, of course, used the gummy bear themes, because a lot of times early on, as I'm waiting for people to come in, what I'll do is I'll start singing like either old cartoon themes or anime themes or what have you.
Okay, that makes sense.
So you guys probably heard me before going, they're dashing, they're daring, they're courageous and
Oh yeah.
caring. You know,
yeah. So it's with me though, it really is like some of the stuff, like the last Trolls thing I did, except for the intro with the Kiss song that I ripped off. The rest of it is all like out of the YouTube audio library.
Yeah.
I like to use a lot of their stuff.
Yeah, that's all right by me. You know, like I
Yeah.
said, that's the only reason. You know, like for me, for my channel, I don't like even getting the things where they can take your money, although I'm not earning any money on any of my
I'm always
videos.
like, take my money as long as I can use your stuff to advertise my stuff. I'm all for it.
Yeah.
If you want my 0.7 of a cent after the year is done, add it up, brother. Take it.
Yeah.
Like somebody owns.
feeling better now, Chris?
What's that?
Feeling better now?
I am still upset, but I am feeling better because I got it out. I talked with you
You got a
guys.
chance to vent it. Yeah, that's.
And not only that, I feel like the world had a chance to hear me say that. If they didn't watch it, it's their business. But this was my way of putting up the red flag and saying, yo, this is what I know about what I know. And whether people heed that, that's up to them. Miss Rena came in and told us.
I wasn't even aware that it happened. So.
Listen, Miss Rena came in and told us some new stuff that I wasn't even aware of. But yeah, he's really nasty to people sometimes. And I got to see that. And like I said in my little opening statement there, yeah, it's my fault in a major part because I have the last word syndrome. But like he did too.
The only time I really had, let's say, an issue with Pops myself in my interactions with him was, at one time we were discussing the thing about Twitter, and he was trying to push, well, you should get back on Twitter, shouldn't let people chase you off Twitter. But and I've explained why I'm off Twitter. It's not just simply being chased off. It's just more like
self-defense.
I'm one of those who can get heated pretty quick, and sometimes getting caught up in that drama, I can sometimes end up saying stuff that I know better than I should be saying. You get what I mean?
Oh yeah, every day I expect to get banned, and sometimes I am. 12-hour ban, you're in trouble.
Out now because I promised Hurtgrave that I was going to go on his channel, or kind of implied or something earlier. So, but thanks for having me on.
No problem. Every Thursday night at 8, you can catch Lorenzo, and he's really good about sharing your stuff and helping you publicize. So
yeah, if you just I'll do my best to give you a wrench if you stop in the chat. Only exception is well-read comics, and that's waiting for him to actually be nice to me one time.
Yeah. Well, before you Lorenzo, let me just add something here too, just to let everybody know, and before you leave, let you know, a week from tomorrow on Saturday, April 30th. I'll actually be on Critical Blast promoting my channel, on one of the first promotion interviews. So
sounds cool. Well, take care, everybody.
The normal time, it's like 8 Eastern, 7 Central, 5 Pacific. Next Saturday, April the 30th. So if you guys want to go check that out,
sounds cool. Take care, everybody.
Peace, brother.
Peace and God bless.
Bye.
God bless.
Later.
Cool dude, but
and then there's 6.
Hey guys, I got to head out. My phone's about to die. It was nice talking to you and venting. I really need
Hey,
that.
Miss Rena, I'll be thinking about you, girl. I'm sorry about that. If you need a place just to hang, you're always welcome.
Thank you. Sorry I haven't been hanging out as much.
Hey, don't worry about it. There's no pressure here. It's like Friends where everybody knows your name.
That's Cheers.
That's Cheers, man.
Oh!
Where everybody knows your name. And they're always glad you came.
Yes, we know.
Have a good night.
Good night. It's a multiverse thing.
You're gonna have to. We're gonna have to pull your geek card. You're no longer a geek. You can't have that card.
Actually, I'm kind of glad. It seems I've forgotten that section of pop culture.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure whether Cheers would fall under geek culture.
Thank you, Rick.
It really wouldn't.
Well, that's to you.
I think that would fall more under pop culture.
Yeah.
Isn't that not geek culture then?
No.
No, like Knight Rider would be like a
Oh, no
crossover
one-
thing, but Cheers is not Knight Rider, and Knight Rider is not Cheers.
Hey, guys. Hey, RJ's here.
Hey, RJ, what's up, brother?
What's up, man?
Hey, you want to come in and join us, RJ?
The water is fine. Hang on.
They're correcting all the stuff I'm saying, and I find it very troubling.
The link is
No
now
one
in the
told
chat.
me
You're
life
more than
was going to
welcome
be
join
this
us.
way. That's a theme song. I forget which one.
Well, you take the good, you take the bad.
And there
Take
you
it
have
all
the
and then you have.
That's life.
The
You
Tims
take
of
the
life.
good, take the bad. You take them both, and there you had the facts of life. The
Dun, dun, dun,
facts of life.
Life.
Dun,
They're
dun, dun, dun.
all about you.
Well,
Different strokes, different strokes, different strokes for me.
Hey,
and you,
what you
different-
talking about, Mr. Drummond?
Well, the world don't move to the beat of just one drum.
Oh,
What
no,
might be right
come
for
on.
you may not be
Now
right
look
for
what you started.
some.
And then you
A
get
man
caught.
is
What you talking about,
born,
Willis?
he's a man of needs, and along come two who got nothing but genes. You got different strokes takes, different strokes takes, different strokes move the world.
I'm pretty sure we scared RJ off.
Good going, Mike.
this is the
Damn
test.
it.
This is a test mic stream. See whether he can sing the theme song that you bring up.
Hang
Have
on,
you
I'm
seen
looking
what they did to the song?
What?
I was gonna say something.
Just the good old boys, never meaning no harm.
Dukes of Hazzard.
Getting bent deep.
Uh,
I have no idea.
No, if we all just like say every other word, it would sound like a broken radio. No, me.
in the underground, if you can find them.
No,
Yeah.
Maybe you can hire VATs.
Have you seen how ridiculous that show is, though? It's fun to watch, but at the same time, they made a bazooka out of a tree trunk.
I am not sure what we're talking about.
VAT.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Would that be more MacGyver than 18? Although they did MacGyver a lot too.
No, yeah, they did. They did. No, but what he's talking about is they aim these machine guns at not at the person they're trying to hit, but something far away from them, and they.
Oh
They
yeah,
got very funny.
they can only lay down the suppressive fire. Just
Right.
like G.I. Joe.
Well, unfortunately, back then, in that the time slot they were in, they couldn't, like kill people or have people killed or whatever. That's
Yeah,
why,
because kids were still awake. That was
You
the
know,
problem.
Well, and they were
So,
marketing toys too.
So
Right.
Yeah.
so you have a helicopter crash into the side of a mountain and everybody survives.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had one of the figures, one of the 18 figures. I remember that.
I had 2 or 3. I know I had Mr. T.
Yeah, but if we're honest with each other, today that happens a lot in movies. I watch normal people these days, and like in the Suicide Squad, they crash a freaking helicopter, and all the people are fine. They just kind of, that was bumpy.
But they're supposed to be like super villains and stuff like that. You know, it's almost expected. Where
it is expected, and it's very camp in a way, but it's also like whenever they do it, I go, yeah. And now I'm watching a 9-year-old go, see, people can survive. Okay, yeah. Watch the movie.
The odds. I think the odds are slightly, not in their favor, but yeah, people can survive a helicopter crash.
Sure.
Well, it was just like I was watching a video on YouTube the other day about all the injuries from a doctor.
I'm gonna head out for a few minutes. I might be back. Just gotta go take care of something.
All right.
Be careful, Mike.
About all the injuries that the Crooks received in Home Alone 1 and 2.
I saw that, Rick.
How they'd be like, really dead by the end of this.
They should have been dead 15 minutes in.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I think that we may have exhausted the evening. We're down to 3 viewers. God bless you 3.
I'm one of.
Yeah, so just remember, don't hit your dog, or else you might trigger me, and then we might end up in one of these stupid streams. And guys, just think about what you're doing out there. I'm not here to preach to anybody. I just don't like the whole animal abuse. And I know they'll say, well, it was one time. Well, it still offended me. I'm sorry. And if you can look at it and not be offended, God bless you. I have a hard time with it.
Just hope it's not like a thing that happens repeatedly.
Yeah, just don't watch the video too much, or else it just becomes a little bit too obvious.
Yeah, I did see the video, and I did think, that you shouldn't do that.
It was just not the right thing, and it just looks way too smooth. And I'm like, all right, motherfucker.
Yeah, he didn't even think anything about it. Yeah, I could see your point.
Yeah, it was just too smooth.
It was.
So, yeah, I'm just glad my dogs. I don't know, knock on wood, but we've never hit them. We've never had to.
No.
Even the one that was nuts. We had one named Rocky, and he literally put 4 stitches worth of bite marks on my thumb, and we kept him, and I was terrified of him. But the funny thing was, he was like a mini Chihuahua boxer thing. He was no bigger than a football, but he was like a vicious little thing until we got his neutered. We got him fixed. Yeah. And once he was fixed,
till you got him broken.
Yeah, once he was broken, he was fine.
Best thing about our dog is she hates.
That's the only thing I hate about that. They call it getting the dog or cat fixed. When was the dog or cat broken?
Amen, brother.
No, technically you are breaking it.
That's what
I know,
I'm saying.
Tim. You're trying to say that sentence, aren't you?
Yes.
Hurry up before you forget.
Our dog hates water, so all we have to do is use a squirt bottle.
In the mouth?
No. You just aim it at her and spray at her, and she'll stop. She just hates water.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
The grass is wet. She doesn't want to go outside.
Okay, so you know how cats typically love those lasers that you can put on the wall and they'll jump all over the place?
Yeah.
We have a cat who, if you do it, she got so scared the few times we did it that if you hold up the light without turning it on, she sees the stick, she flies out of the room. Whatever it is about her eyes, when she sees that laser, it scares her to death.
Wow.
Yeah, it's funny. We've never seen it before in any animal, but she just freaks.
Well, my cat that I had just didn't even react to it. It's like it's out of the wall, whatever. On the floor. It's like, I'm not chasing that.
Oh no, my dog had more fun with it than the cat did.
Well, actually, technically, I'm not even sure whether the cat saw it because it never really reacted to it. It was just like,
Well, whatever poor Gracie sees, she thinks it's like an eye from hell, and she cannot be caught in the wake of it. She is. In fact, I was able to trick her a few times with a ballpoint pen, but she's gotten smart. If it's not the actual laser, she knows now. And with that, we're down to 2 viewers.
Done. Yeah, one of which is you, one of which is me. You know.
Yeah, you never know. So, guys, I want to thank you for being here tonight.
All right.
I'll be streaming more. I got to do some streaming while I'm drawing. Maybe I'll jump onto one of Rick's things because he's always doing something. But I forgot to. I wanted to do the Thursday night thing with Rena's character, but I fell asleep.
Yeah, I wanted to, you should have came on my stream. I'm on Thursdays, usually Tuesdays and Thursday nights.
What's tomorrow?
Saturday.
What are we all doing Saturday?
I don't know.
Nothing.
Well,
I don't think.
For a while, I got to meet up. Well, I got to meet up with a friend online. I'm not sure what time though.
What's her name?
His name is Evan. I'm going to be setting up my Steam Deck.
Okay, you know, it's the 21st century. You call it what you want.
Yeah.
I'm teasing, brother.
True. This is the 21st century. So,
so yeah, if you're streaming, I'll try to catch you, and if not, I'll do something. I don't know. Maybe I'll do a drawing challenge tomorrow just to get. I don't know, man, because like I've been doing so much trolls that like I think I forgot how to draw superheroes. Like everybody's in like wrinkled clothes. Like I'm learning really well how to draw like sleeves with wrinkles now, and the pants and the way they go. And
you've mastered drapery.
Not mastered it, but I'm getting it. It's a beautiful thing, though.
Yeah,
like to master it. What's that?
Well, and the other show that you could come on with me, I'm not sure whether you're home in time, 5 o'clock Eastern to 6 is I do my show on Rumble. I try to do that Monday through Friday.
What is it called?
Winding Down. 5 o'clock Winding Down.
Oh. Can we change the name to Watermelon Starlight?
No.
Okay, that's cool.
Because I despise one main reason is I despise watermelon. I hate watermelon.
Yeah, see, I just came up with that. I literally looked at the ceiling and was like, water starlight. Yeah. But no, I'm teasing. Yeah. Well, actually, is that like tomorrow too?
No.
No.
But the one thing I haven't done in a while, of course, is my thing on Saturday for the artists, to get together and just draw.
Well, if you don't, I might.
Let's do it.
Because
hey, Terry, do you prefer
it.
Discord or do you prefer like this format?
Who, me?
Discord is fine.
Yeah.
Right.
And everybody, as you know, you're always welcome on my streams. You just come on in Discord, just through I'm in the on-air chat usually when I'm live.
You always block me when you're live.
I do not.
Oh yeah, a window comes up. It says Rick has blocked you because you're funny looking.
You are a big fat liar.
It's okay. You got me.
Yeah, you've eaten too many happy troll cakes.
Yeah.
You say something like Rick has blocked you.
Yeah, no, he's never blocked me. I'm teasing.
But
that's what happens after
you're
midnight.
Bad, and you should feel bad about it.
I feel horrible. No, it's what happened. Literally, I woke up at like 3:30 to all this stuff, and I've been simmering on it until like 10:20. And really, I got to thank you and all the viewers because you guys helped. I was really freaked out. Rena's shit was amazing, huh? Like that's real fresh. He must be really not comfortable because I don't know what she did to deserve that. She's a nice lady.
Well, unfortunately,
what happened
she didn't do what he wanted, which was come on his stream when he wanted.
Right.
You know, and
Well,
it's like,
in a
and
way,
it's like he didn't. Oh, and she didn't launch. She's not going to launch on his stream.
well, like
But so
who
what?
wouldn't
You
want to
know?
launch on Bancroft's stream? Bancroft is huge, right?
Yeah. Well, it's like back in the day, like back quite some time ago. I'm friends with Matt Costin. I'm not sure whether you know who that is. Well, some of you might. But you know, I was gonna have him on my stream for his like last day of campaign that he was doing, and he had a chance. And he's friends with Mike Miller. You know, we're good friends with Mike Miller. So he had a chance to go on my. He suddenly got a chance to go on Mike Miller's stream. Am I gonna deny him the chance to go somewhere with a bigger audience and actually get his book that he's working on funded, or am I gonna, you know, say, "Oh, you promised to come on my stream and make a big stink about it"? No, I want to see him succeed. So I'm gonna say, "Screw me! You come on mine a different time. Go there. You know, you got a better chance of succeeding over there."
Yeah, that's like if you're playing arena football and the NFL comes calling. Guess what? You know, you're like, see ya. Absolutely understand that.
You know, and the thing is too, I think he was willing to, you know, come on mine instead of Mike's, but I'm like, no, you got go on Mike's. You got to get funded. You got to go where you got a better chance of getting funded.
Right.
You know, because I'm just a Peasley Misley channel with 500 subs. He's got like 5,000 subs or whatever. You know, you got 10 times
750 now or 780.
Yeah, but I'm talking at the time, you know, and my numbers are probably off for both channels at the time when it happened. But it's like,
okay, guys.
And I'm at 708 actually.
I'm gonna slip away into the night. And thank you all, and remind you, Pops, that if I hear about it, I'm gonna, you know, bitch and moan. And I'm sorry, that's just the way it is.
Yeah, don't hit.
I hope the dog is good. I hope everybody else is good. Stay strong, everybody. Keep supporting your indie creators. God bless you. Anything else, guys?
And
every time I do that, we talk for another 20 minutes, don't we?
Go sign up for the Canadian Shield 2 and check out Cross Comics either on
Melvin
Rumble
2 also, because Melvin.
Oh, and don't forget,
awesome.
Trolls Exposed. It's actually in the description.